15:00 hours Greenwich Meridian time. Good afternoon. This is your election hub. My name is Emmanuel. Agyabeng. This is our continuous coverage of the rerun of. We are some polls started around 7 a.m. So we are some 8 hours, close to 8 hours. Yeah, 8 hours into the polls. What is your assessment so far from what we are seeing?
Well, so the pockets of violence, I think, did not come as a surprise, but the magnitude has shocked virtually everybody, and the impunity with which the perpetrators are undertaking these exercises is quite surprising, to be honest. Earlier, we were calling on the IGP to step in. I'm sure he was watching us, and so indeed, he had to make his way to Ablekuma North, even after the Interior Minister and the Defense Minister all went there. And so if there's anything that was making the police...
Yes, well, she's been monitoring as well, following keenly on all that is happening in the 19 polling stations over there. I just went with IB on his thoughts so far. Right. IB's London point was on his final point, was on the management of security protocols over there. Largely, I want to believe you'd agree, stay with him.
I absolutely agree. And he makes an interesting point about the fact that perhaps if there's anything positive to come out of it, it should be the presence, strengthen the boys to do their job. Because if you ask, the policeman there was interested, he was protecting the ballot box, yes, and not the person being attacked, which for me was extremely disappointing. You see that with the Deputy National Organizer of the New Patriotic Party. Yes. He's being attacked and the policemen are just interested in guarding the entrance of the polling station. So I'm just really hoping that, just as IB said, the presence of the IGP will indeed send a signal, because it appears that not even the presence of the Interior Minister or the Defense Minister could do much to avert the situation. And it's a fact. It's an election that is keenly contested. You have all the big wigs from the New Patriotic Party being there. You have all the big wigs from the NDC sending signals on their social media. Malik Batintali tweeted, for instance, that 5K men, 3K women should be present there. And so you expect a lot of people there in a very central situation to conduct the poll. So I'm just hoping that the IDP's presence will, if anything, motivate the men to do better, because it has been disappointing. We've had about 3 media persons being attacked. One from us here, but he'll be joining us in the studio very shortly. We've had one from Multi.
MPP is on journalists as well. We don't know what. Good afternoon, and thank you for making time to join us.
It's a bit breaking, so if you could repeat the questions, and then I'll be able to respond.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Thank you.
I was asking you that we are some 8 hours into the commencement of the rerun. What is your initial assessment of the conduct of the police service in terms of managing security protocols at the various polling stations?
Thank you. Good afternoon to Good afternoon to your listeners and viewers. I think early hours of the day, when the polling started around 7, from 7 o'clock up to 9 thereabouts, all things were so cool and calm. I mean, information that we were gathering and the people we were talking to behind the scenes on the ground shows that the electorates were casting their ballots in a very nice atmosphere. Then just after 10 a.m., we realized tensions were rising high. Immediately after that, we saw a police officer, without any provocation, assaulting a media practitioner. And there, things started getting worse, and the situation almost getting out of control. It does appear as if we hadn't learned our lessons as a nation, or for that matter, a security organization like the Ghana Police Service, going into this election which claimed having won, given the fact that there has been a lot of contention. From December up till now, Ablekuma North has been very much in the news for all the negativities and the stuff. I mean, collation centers being vandalized, people attacked, and all of that. So I was of the opinion for the police and the security managers to analyze and prepare themselves very well, such that they can avert or stop any other violence that potentially could erupt today. But unfortunately, it appeared as though, even though they had the history to learn from, much were not done as far as threat assessment and intelligence, processing and management were concerned. And that is how come we saw the breaches and the attacks and the violence that we witnessed. And coming from a police officer with the rank of chief superintendent attacking a media practitioner, I realized it was very much unprofessional and uncalled for. Let me commend the police having interdicted him and asking due process of further investigations to be commenced. I think that is what's supposed to be done. But the police largely must peaceful election in just 18 or 19 polling centers, not the entire constituency, 19 polling centers. We did not expect things to go out of hand. The police being seen as overwhelmed by the tax or thuggery by the party, faithfuls and all of that. It's quite unfortunate that this has happened. But I believe that from now up to 5 p.m., when counting and collation will be done, the police will have to organize themselves to be seen very effective, to position themselves in vantage points to ensure that the hoodlums will not get their way again. Because looking at how tensions very high now, there's a possibility that people will want to distract their collation. And that is what I think the police should now prepare themselves to ensure that doesn't happen.
From the videos we have seen so far, there is a question that has been lingering in my mind, and I'm sure in the mind of many people now, that you see the acts of violence as they are being perpetrated. At the commencement of it, you see a number of police officers there. But then you see them also being overpowered by the people. And then what we see in the videos, it seems to be the police are being a bit lenient with those people who are fomenting trouble. Is it the case that the police did not adequately assess what they are going to deal with in this rerun?
There's quite a deficiency in that, assessment. And again, the police themselves appear vulnerable because they were not, armed and did not have any other thing to make sure that they appear well prepared and fortified. In line of only the material uniform, and is afraid for his life or her life because the attacks are coming. They wear all kind of things. Their smokes so big in the mosque, their smoke they are wearing, whatever they are hiding in the smokes they are wearing, the jackets they are wearing, and all of that. People do not know. And you can also ask them to not bring these attacks, their motorbikes and bags they are hanging around them and all of that. These are all assessments that are supposed to be done for you to know that these people are likely to foment trouble, and therefore we should not take any chances. Let's make sure that we fortify our men. Let's make sure that we are able to ensure that we do not allow any hoodlum to take advantage of the fact that the police were not armed and they will only, be there and watching while the perpetrators continue to perpetrate violence on the innocent people around there. I think that was the deficiency I saw in line of the management of the security.
Finally, before I let you go, concerning persons who are politically exposed and how they attend these, for lack of a better word, these exercises. We are seeing leading members of the opposition. We are seeing leading members of the sitting government. And it happens in every electoral cycle. When they step out, some of them just go with some boys, some go without protection. Should it be the case that we allow these things go? I mean, for a former member of parliament to be without protection at such a ground, does it not question the kind of security we give to persons who are politically exposed in our country?
Well, first and foremost, the politically exposed people might not be holding any executive position in the country, so might not be entitled to who will visit such areas. For example, a personality like Madam Hawa Kumsun, former actions, I would have thought that the police or the security will know that she is a person of interest. So wherever she appears, where might be sensitive to other party members, he should not or she should not be given such, so many lapses that I am of the opinion that it's not just about the uniform. It's about the alertness, it's about the intelligence, about how you are watching the environment and the communication. The uniformed men are there. Plainclothes men are also there. What do they hear? What do they communicate to their immediate supervisors? And what measures in terms of proactiveness should be in place to avert any unforeseen circumstances like what we saw? Indeed, the police were helpless because they could not withstand the weight of these thugs who entered within the premises, and therefore they could just watch on while someone was being assaulted or people were being attacked and all of that, which is quite unfortunate in my candid opinion.
That she discharged pepper spray when she felt under the threat of attack. Was that a miscalculation on her part?
She doesn't have training well much about how to face such situations. So on the layman's point of understanding, she thought she could pull it out and spray. But spraying the pepper spray just on everybody or just into the sky does not mean that people will stop coming close to you. And even that, you will anger people because pepper spray itself, mind you, the people approaching her, they were wearing helmets and all of that. So they will get hold of you before they will start feeling the heat of the pepper spray. So in my candid opinion, it was not necessary. She could not have used that alone to defend herself because that would rather, anger the people and they will attack you by whatever means that they want to do. And so I think she should not have even attempted. In my candid opinion...
Computer.
Yes.
We are grateful that you could join us this afternoon on this broadcast. The NDC has been accused by the MPP for fomenting trouble and scaring MPP sympathizers from coming to vote. How do you respond exactly to the comments by the parliamentary candidate in the Ablekuma North constituency?
Creating the violence are MPP supporters, those people who think that they should not participate in this election, as announced by their general secretary, are the people who are beating those who decided to come and participate. Their general secretary organized a press conference and announced to the whole world that the MPP is not taking part in this primaries, this rerun. It was done here, and we all heard it. It was live. Then some people decided...
Interesting when you say that the NDC is not behind the violence that we are seeing in the Ablekuma North constituency. But why would NPP supporters want to attack their own members? How does that even work?
Chibu,
even to the NDC, is that the case?
I can't hear you say it.
Yeah, that there are macho men, tags that have been deployed to Ablekuma North and they are fomenting trouble. They are seeking to intimidate voters from coming out to vote because...
My brother, these are MPP. These are MPP. I am the Deputy Director of Election. I am in charge of operations. I am the Deputy Director of Election. I am in charge of operations for the election today. I am telling you that we have not deployed any tax. We have not deployed any problem. It is only that polling station where that is the duty of the security service. When they to do your work. So when the overzealous police officer misbehaves, he has been interdicted quickly. So that one there, it is left with the security agents to do that. So the call should be directed to them.
All right.
We are expecting collating to begin quite shortly. Mr. Tanko Computer, are you looking at the EC's readiness? Are you confident of the process being finalized today?
Yes, I'm very much confident. We are going to end the process peacefully, count the votes, and declare the winner. Rabna is going to be the winner today. The intention of the MPP is to mar the beauty of this election. They are not interested in winning the election. They know they have lost it in advance. We are telling you, and Ghanaians, everybody who is interested in the democratic development of this country, that today we will end the process of Ablekuma North, and we will have an MP elect, and it's going between NDC and MPP. And I'm saying that the minister is completely right. Honorable Sam George, what he's put out there is right. Because, look, if we're even going to behave like them, I don't think they would have contested this election. But we have been magnanimous. Look at the violence they unleashed on our people 2019. These people, look at them. Look at MPP now talking as if we came from Jupiter and they are in F. Everybody saw it, how they did it, how they handled our people in 2019. Ayawasu was Wagon by election. Everybody saw it. So they have no moral justification.
More clarity and some expertise into the security matters concerning this rerun. We have been joined by security consultant Professor Kwesi Enin. Prof, good afternoon. We are grateful that you could make the time to speak with us.
Well, it's always a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Prof, just gone by was the Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the NDC. And I ended my conversation with him on a post made by the Communications Minister concerning an incident that occurred in 2019. And the Deputy Director...
Well, electoral violence in this country has probably dates back to the 1940s. But for those of us who are not that old, I think when institutions are not allowed to work optimally, so that when infractions of our rules and our laws take place, those institutions can act. And I'm talking about the Ayawaso West Wagon violence. That violence was so extreme that the government then in power established the Emmanuel Commission of Inquiry and subsequently brought in Act 999, the Vigilante Act. Several things happened that laid the basis for what we are seeing today. After the committee had submitted its report, the president insinuated that they may have misread their terms of reference, which was a direct insult to the three-member panel. One person now, a Supreme Court judge, Kwesi Achampong, a retired IGP, and Mr. Emmanuel, the former commissioner for Shrine, and claimed they didn't know where those people came from. And we took it for granted. President Mahama then and prevents them from working. This is
given that we have spoken largely about the post and what we have seen so far, there is cause to raise the concern as well about the preparedness of the police. One person we engaged did indicate that the police did not appear prepared. They were without arms. They looked vulnerable. In your opinion, is that the case?
No, I don't speak for the police, although people think I do. Look, if the police had gone there armed, they would have used it. In almost all decent societies, of what is happening today might be the fourth or the fifth. We should ask ourselves, who are those who are located within the interstices of power who are encouraging these people to do what they are doing, knowing that they can be protected and they cannot be brought before a court of competent jurisdiction? Okay, so we can arm all the police officers that we want. We can give them all the powers that they want. But when people are determined that they are protected and therefore they will act, they will still go on and act, and lives would have been lost. So I think in terms of the assessment as to whether the police should be armed or not, I think the police gave the proper call.
Well, Prof, you related to the Emmanuel committee report. You played an active role in that commission's work. Now, the president then issued the white paper. As we speak,
it's going to get so violent with respect to our elections, because both parties have decided that the electorate itself does not matter. What matters is that they will need to win power by any means necessary. So we can set up 100 committees of inquiry, but the parties don't believe in the recommendations. They will not be implemented. So what is happening, what will happen after today is that those who feel that they've been victimized will start preparing for the next by-election. They will go there better prepared, better armed, more intelligence, and we will see extremely more violent acts. The guns are available, the bullets are available, the cutlasses can be bought very easily. The money through Galamsey is there to pay these guys. The pepper sprays that Kawakunsi used are also easily available. So I sitting quite comfortable, enjoying the breeze, knowing that you and I will be talking by the end of this year when there's a by-election, because it's going to be much more violent.
Yeah. Prof, let's stay on the by-election, as you mentioned, because per the question you are given, it means we should all brace ourselves. Journalists have been attacked. We'll return to talk about how Kumsin's pepper spray. But what can be done from now until weeks ahead of us that we go to Akwetia? Because this is Accra, the center of the capital, and this is what we are witnessing. Akwetia, you are warning, but what can be done?
Well, Akwetia is also an old hotspot. Mm-hmm. I think nothing can be done. Wow. Because the political parties are hell-bent on destroying each other. The vigilantes enjoy the violence because they get nicely paid. You guys must just be careful that you don't become collateral damage. I'm talking about the journalists. At Akwetia, it will not be as to who wins or not. At Akwetia, it will be, we will deal with you because now the scores are 1-1. Ayawaso were won to the ruling party, Ablekuma to the ruling party. Ayawaso Akwetia, neutral grounds. We will see who will win.
Prof, you mentioned the vigilante groups. At a point, a number of fora organized and then culminated into vigilantism and related offenses bill passed, now an act. Has that act become a useless piece of paper? Because we still see them. Everybody knows that the NDC still has macho men in its fold. Same with the NPP, Prof.
We disrespect ourselves so much that we pass these laws, we pass them into acts, but nobody respects them. Nobody knows what they are. Nobody reflecting on. Is that thanks to modern technology, we now have the video footage of who is doing what. Okay? But nothing is going to happen to them because godfatherism and godmotherism have infiltrated our politics to such an extent that if we are well connected, you can do whatever you want and go scot-free. We know in Kaswa people shot, people were hurt. Ministers were brandishing guns. The police report gave a totally different impression of what people had witnessed on the ground. So over time, people don't trust the institutions that are supposed to protect us and ameliorate the tensions in societies anymore. Okay, it's become who knows who, and how much are you prepared to pay me to do your dirty work for you, because you can get me off the hook. So we have the Vigilante Act, but nobody talks about it. Okay, we knew this by-election was coming at least about 2 or 3 weeks ago. But the institutions that ought to have done some proactive work, all decided to keep quiet until we are seeing what we are seeing. But we are going to see more violence. We are going to see more chaos. And, when the results are declared tonight, we may see some pockets of violence as people celebrate, because the results tonight will have serious implications for our democracy going forward. The minority might become hollowed out, and the majority might become a supermajority with the space and the free will to do all kinds of things. So I guess part of the tensions around today's elections relates to the importance of who wins today. But be that as it may, that is no justification or cause for this disgraceful behavior that we have witnessed this afternoon.
Maybe Sawakumse is in the news, and you related to that briefly, and she's at the receiving end of an assault. Yes, we know history. All right, so Prof, my colleague IB has more to ask you, but I wanted to chip in with this concerning the godfatherism and godmotherism. It has to do with the fact that there has been assurances from the Defense and Interior Minister to ensure that all perpetrators are brought to book. Do you not have confidence in them?
Oh, Chief, this one, as a retired man, what do you want me to say? Let action speaks louder than words. So let me leave it at that. If perpetrators will be brought to book,
Prof, please kindly land on your point, sorry.
Yeah, if perpetrators will be brought to book, and we have been promised that, let's wait and see. I mean, Monday is just around the corner. So for those who have been arrested, hopefully by Monday they should be brought before a court of competent jurisdiction. There's enough video footage for us to know what is happening. So, yeah. But let them walk the talk. Yeah, that's what I'll say.
All right. Prof, so I was asking what you make of what happened to Madam Mevisawa Kumsin, because the argument was that she was not supposed to be in the inner perimeter of the voting center, yet she was allowed to be there. Another thing, in the past, what we know is that EC gives accreditation to monitors, and political parties can then deploy these individuals who go from one polling station to the other as members of the...
As a godmother, as a powerful, actor, people think they can do what they want, and I think we will need to check what kind of spray she was using and whether she had a permit to use that spray and carry it on her person. Happening to her in different ways. But under no circumstances should this violence be accepted at all. 2, you see, institutions and officials must line up. If you do, I will deal with you. I am working in this company, so I can steal some of the tiles. I can steal some of the electric cables to take to my house to go and work. I can cut different deals with hotels to cheat my company because I'm in a position of influence. That is not how societies work. Societies work best when we follow the rules and the processes and mechanisms for decision making. Okay? But violence has been allowed to seep into our body politic because it's a profitable venture. Okay. Must serve as enough deterrent for everybody. But godfatherism and godmotherism is creating this culture of gangsterism, vigilantism, and machoism. Okay? So, if 2 ministers have promised us that people will be dealt with, you know the number of CCTV cameras in Accra? In their thousands. The last question, because I have a class at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
And I always don't want to be late. I punish my students when they are late.
Yes, very finally.
Well, the opposition party started campaigning a couple of hours ago when their candidate decided that she would stand, in contravention of what the party leaders had decided. But whatever it is, this is a foretaste of what Akwatia is going to be. As to whether this is a test case for the IGP, I think the IGP has been tested in Boko and several other places. But as an IGP, I think he is tested.
Being able to identify him, the Emmanuel Commission identified the gentleman. His name has been mentioned. So it comes down to what he talks about political will. And it's always about who is in power, who is in opposition. Trust me, a few months ago, when we were talking about political will, it was about the NPP and the party in power. Today, when we talk about political will, it will be about NDC and then the government in power. Finally, on this, we kid ourselves that the average Ghanaian is scared of violence, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The average Ghanaian is scared of blood. And that's why we say and conclusively say that we can never go to war.
Right.
There will never be a civil rife. Because the average Ghanaian, he will talk. He won't put his words into action. Day in, day out, we disprove ourselves, but we keep kidding ourselves that the average Ghanaian is peaceful and non-violent. That's a lie.
I couldn't agree more with you because it comes to, I remember when there were conversations about our constitution, and then there were also conversation as well. No evil, and I don't think that is the appropriate way to go. And for those who have not followed keenly the events from this morning, as you can see on your screens now, this is a journalist. She's
from ATV. Apparently, she was drenched in pepper spray. So that is what the kind of help she was being given. Getting water so that she could actually at least see, because it appears the pepper spray affected her eyes so much. She needed immediate attention.
It's sad, and this is what's happening to media persons. And the quite striking argument that Professor Enin made in his final comments, he made and said, "This is a sad day for Ghana."
It is,
and we are just ridiculing ourselves.
Exactly.
You see, talking about that, we've had a number of sad days. Look, we can start from 2019, a similar by-election. We went into the 2020 general election. Lives were lost.
Exactly.
2024, lives were lost.
Yes.
We've had several sad days, but as IB said, we just want to, kid ourselves that, the reality is that Ghanaians don't like to...
Rita, until power changes hands, unfortunately, that's what we're witnessing.
Right.
So, yes, no man in uniform should be allowed to slap a member of parliament. No man in uniform should be allowed to slap anybody.
In fact.
How much more a member of parliament? But for years, this was put in the cooler.
Right.
So, today, people are sending me messages, elements within MPP, that we are also keeping receipts. And I'm quoting, we are keeping receipt of everything that's happening today. When the party comes to power in future, it will be revisited.
Professor Lee said, now the score is 1-1. So they are draw, they are at par now. So it means that Akwetia is going to be quite tenuous.
And Akwetia has been one of our hotspots nationwide.
Yeah, it's been.
In fact, whenever there are elections, you know, people are just looking forward to what happens in Akwetia. And just like what happened in Ablekuma North, where there's been a by-election, now there's going to be a by-election there. That's very same place that was a bit violent in 2024, reason for which Neskumi had to be struggling in and out of courts, and likewise the NDC's parliamentary candidate. You know, it's disappointing. But as Professor Kwesianin said, we're going to be witnessing several instances of violence because the political actors do not care about the electorate. They're just looking out for power, and the godparents will always be there to offer them the needed assistance. And so we are in for, unfortunately, a disappointing ride.
On that score, if what the Interior Minister said is anything to go by, we want to see his words put into action. He says everything that has transpired today relative to the security breaches are criminal matters, and must be dealt with as such, regardless of who is involved. And I'm quoting him. If the words he used are put into practice, then that will be the starting point of ending this impunity. Of you visiting on me everything that is unheard of, everything that is unpalatable, and me having to wait patiently until my party comes to power before I get justice. Which country is built that way? And talking about Akwetia, it has all the ingredients. See, it's a mining community. Galamsey.
The 19 polling stations, we have our reporters dotted across all of them. We have one reporting to us currently from Awoshi, the DVLA office there. Yeah, Charles, good afternoon. How are proceedings going over there at that police station?
All right, so thank you very much and welcome. Currently, I'm at the DVLA polling center at Awoshi. And I think the procedure or the process have been very calm and very cool here. Security as in order, everything is okay. But currently, as I'm talking to you, we have Honorable Akukan, who is the Deputy Communications Director for the National Democratic Congress, as well as the Municipal Chief Executive for Ghana East Municipal Assembly are all here, and the National Vice Chairman for the National Democratic Congress currently observing issues here as I'm talking to you. So they are now in meantime, interacting with the officials from the Electoral Commission. So, Akukan, thank you very much for joining us. We are live on GHOne TV. Thank you. All right, so far, pitch of how many polling centers have been so far, what have been the procedure and the processes so far?
Right, thank you very much. I've been to 18 polling stations. This is the 18th.
18th.
The last one is a CAD that we are going
okay. All right.
And as you can see, 1 hour to the closing, and then there's nobody here. You know, that's so good. 1 hour to time, we'll be smiling.
All right, so there have been some occurrences from the morning. Let me say my colleague was attacked at the
thing that happens. However, it will be unfortunate if there are violence. Some place because really the whole place are quiet, and I know you can testify.
Oh yeah,
you can testify to that. So if there are one or two scenes, so unfortunate. I saw the GHOne guys start on it, and the police statement. Okay. That's when my mind was.
All right. You know. Okay. So far the turnout. How do you see the turnout?
So for us, we expected this, and we are working according to that plan. And I think that will be smiling.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. We are very grateful.
Sorry, have to run.
Sure. All right. Sure. Okay. Thank you. So that was Akugan that we interacted with earlier on, and this is the presiding officer at the DVLA Awoshi. Okay, officer. So thank you very much for joining us live on GHOne TV. Can you give us the total registered number here at DVL? And so far, let me say 10 minutes past the hour of 4. How many
have voted so far, and what are we expecting?
Well,
Let's see. Sure. Okay.
The registered number of voters is 630.
630. All right.
As of now, a little over 200.
200. Wow. All right.
We don't have any expectations.
All right.
We are only ready to work.
Okay.
To have time for anybody who comes will be allowed to vote. So okay.
All right. So any challenges so far when you came?
Not a single challenge.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, sir. All right. So that was the GHOne TV. We are grateful for your time. I think you've been here since morning. How has the process and the procedures been so far from the time you've been here?
It's been wonderful so far, so good.
So this is
Our reporter, Charles, there monitoring proceedings over there at the DVLA polling station at Awoshi. He mentions that the presiding officer mentions that out of 6 estimation of what each candidate should, if any candidate should surpass, they would carry the day. But that's all in my head. And very soon,
Eventually, you make
the analysis, and I'm sure you'd have your thoughts.
Yeah.
It's a very conservative approach, and it's in line with what he's saying. Because personally, I'm not seeing people come out.
Yeah.
I am not expecting even close to 5,000 come to vote.
Oh yes,
But
out of the 6,000.
Out of the 6,000, I am not expecting I'm not expecting a number close to 5,000. But and Tutua, this stalemate has gone on for over 180 days.
But also severely tarnish the image of Ghana as a country that respects human rights and press freedom. We have seen the statement by the police administration, which announced the interdiction of the officer involved in the attack. The GHOne commends the police administration for the swift action, but we demand an immediate, thorough, and transparent criminal investigation into this matter, since it's a case of assault. And assault is a what? It's a second-degree felony. Assault is not second-degree felony, but we have said that a premeditated assault is very egregious, because before somebody will attack a journalist, meaning that it's something that the person has planned, that this area, since I'm here, I will not allow any journalist to come here. And it's the reason he tried to avoid, or he tried to prevent our colleague from discharging his constitutional duty. So we see it to be what premeditated, something that has been planned already, and so we cannot treat it as a what? As a felony, as a how do we call it? Misdemeanor. Sorry, we can't treat it as a mere misdemeanor. Police, I believe that this is a serious issue and cannot be treated as a mere misdemeanor. We know what the police can do. Sometimes they will have to met out weak charges just for the person to get weak sentences. This time around, we are going to follow this matter closely with all seriousness. We are going to follow this matter, monitor it closely with all seriousness, with our lawyers involved. Justice must be served for Mr. Banahim. A clear signal must be sent that such impunity will not be tolerated within the Ghana Police Service. We urge all security agencies to educate their personnel on the critical role of the media in a democratic society, and to respect the right of journalists to work without fear or intimidation. The safety and security of journalists are paramount, and any threat to them is a direct threat to our collective freedom of expression and the integrity of our democratic processes. The GHOne stands in unwavering solidarity with Mr. Agyabeng Banahim and Salome Nati, who was also assaulted by unknown hooligan, and will offer all necessary support to ensure that justice is served. And for bit of clearance, Ms. Salome Nati is also a reporter with the multimedia group, and I mean GHOne News, the GHOne brand. under the multimedia group, who was also attacked by some unknown hooligan, unknown tag. We will continue to monitor the situation closely and engage with relevant stakeholders to prevent future occurrences of this abhorrent practice, especially in light of the renewed assurances from government for a free press. Your colleagues, based on this, you can be rest assured that this is the same GHOne administration who stood and fought for the protection of journalists, who stood to defend press freedom at all times. We are ready. We have come with renewed commitment to consolidate the gains we made during the first administration, to do more.
But tell us, now that you are here, your own testimony on our own platform, what happened?
Okay, thank you for having me. I got to the place, Pentecost Polling Center 2. It was 2 and 4. They were closer, and so I had to manage the 2, and then later I'll go to the 4 and report. I was there, and a colleague came.
You shoved you and then later slapped you. What could have instigated that level of anger in him?
Okay, IB, thank you. You see, there is Accra Mayor. He came there. Okay. The Accra Mayor came there. He was there. And then it looks as if the officer don't know the Accra Mayor.
Okay.
So he tried approaching the Accra Mayor not to enter the perimeters.
Okay.
And then it became a banter with the Accra Mayor and himself, the police officer. Wow. And later, the Accra Mayor revealed himself to him that I'm the Accra Mayor.
Yeah, yes.
And before I saw he relaxed. And I don't know whether he was using that anger
on you.
I don't know. I didn't utter any foul word. I didn't utter any bad utterances to him. No. Just asking me to leave the perimeters. I said, no, I can't. Because if I leave and something happened, what can I...
The AMA mayor, he's on record to have said that the police officer, the said police officer, was high-handed, and he even spoke to him anyhow, right? Until probably he got to know who he was. Yeah. And so then it begs the question about, because he was the commander of the team that had been sent there. Yeah. So many people were wondering why the other police officers were helping you away after he had assaulted you and not confronting him. He's their boss, right? So when they were leading you away, what were they telling you? Because at least the other police officers, when they were leading you away, were speaking. What were they saying to you?
They were asking me to leave, go out. Wow. And so
more like they were supporting the action of their boss.
Yeah. Yes.
And for those who do not, but of course, it brings, you don't have to know who a person is for you to respect the person's rights and liberties.
In fact, what I witnessed was that after he attacked me with a slap, and I went out, I was saying, look, this matter will not lie here.
Of course.
And one of his colleagues, I saw my colleagues who came to me for interview, for a report. And so we were given a report, a medical report to come to the Cocoa Clinic for further checks.
I mean, we saw the video and how he struck you. Initially, he tried. So the GHOne president mentioned that it doesn't look like something that was just. It seemed, so you could see on your screens there was a push, but Ahede didn't do anything, and then the strike came, and he still even wanted to do more, and he kept on pushing. Now, there is a cut on your face, and people are wondering, perhaps did you see him holding on to something that would have led to the cuts that we can see on your face now?
Well, you see, I think maybe he was wearing a ring, because there is this kind of bruises on my face, and even it was a cut with blood, and so one of my colleagues has to buy tissue and wipe it for me. Yeah. So I don't know, but currently, of course, and I don't know. So I had wanted to go
receive medical checkup. Yeah. I'm sure you've been given some prescriptions.
Sure,
of course. And once you get those medications, you use them, and then let's see what tomorrow brings. Okay. Because when it has to do with the site, local remedy might not necessarily be the way to go. Yes, but of course, very unfortunate. Police men are trained to be emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
They are trained to restrain themselves. And that's where I will agree with Professor Enin that it's good they were not armed.
Yes.
Because if in the face of what we're witnessing, where civilians are having a go at each other. The police are standing there helpless. And that helpless and harmless journalist who is there to just do his work, you have the effrontery to go and order him to leave. And it doesn't look like you were short of assistance in getting him to leave because your other subordinates had come to offer you that help. That was still not enough. Because you had asked the gentleman to leave. And you still
decide to strike him when he has not done anything to you. And for me, it's the maize seller who was seated there.
Yeah.
And you see, at the start of the video, and it corroborates the report he's giving.
Yeah.
Now, you can see the media person over there.
Yeah.
You can see, and even from behind, you could see two women.
Yes.
And you can see a gentleman, all coming from that end. They do not look like electoral officers.
Yes.
They look like people who live around that area, who are just going about their business. And so if a journalist is sitting somewhere, just trying to catch some breath and do his work without...
It becomes a cold case. No. Because if this man secures his freedom and returns in this uniform, he will do this again. And I'm not sure this is the first time.
It doesn't look like it.
He seems to have a temper problem.
Yes, it doesn't look like it at all. It doesn't look like it at all. And it seems to be that his subordinates know who he is.
Exactly.
And so they decided to step in and try to help solve the matters before it even gets worse.
Yeah.
But that's not the way to lead at all, even. And for me, on his personality as a leader, for your subordinates to see you as someone who is tempered, quick-tempered, that's even totally wrong. I wonder how he manages. But we at EIB Network, we condemn this. The GJA is condemning all the assaults on journalists today. It is not something that should be condoned, and it's not something that we should allow to happen. Else we'll be ridiculing ourselves, because as the news break, it's our job to put it out there for you to see, hear, and read about it. And if we are going about our job and we are going to be attacked, then what is left with the civilian who is just going about his normal duty? You know, news of brutality for civilians when police is conducting his work, there are some searches and all of that. Sometimes it seems very far away to get very close to you. And this is something that we are not happy about. Vanahene, we want to say sorry once again.
Thank you.
We sincerely apologize for what is happening.
Okay.
I'm sure management is dealing with this. But for you, what would look like an expedited solution to all of this? I mean, we can see the man on your screen now. That is him. That's him. As you look at him now, I mean, what's your message to the Ghana Police Service? I hope it's one from you. I hope you can forgive, but then in your forgiveness, I hope you can also demand justice has been served. So, Banahene, the opportunity to speak to the hearts of the police service and to make your concerns known.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to extend my appreciation to the EIB management and the entire news team for the support they've offered me. But with this commander, for me, I'm not going to say anything foul against him or his family. But then I would want the police service to take this action and then make sure he's being punished. For maybe next time, he'll go out there and do a serious one more than mine. Yeah, so I don't have any foul utterances for him, but he must be punished.
Certainly so.
Yes. Once again, we are sorry for what happened to you. In this country, we treat these assaults on journalists as numbers, statistics, right? And it's very easy to look at it as such until it happens to you or somebody closer to you. Here on this network, Banahene will not be the last one or the first one to have been assaulted, right? Murtala Inusa, our court correspondent, had a similar issue with Prophet Elijah Salih from Marcos church members.
Exactly. When he was doing his work.
Yes, we've been pursuing it. The authorities are not even forthcoming in assisting to pursue this. And that's always the point. Because nobody's used as an example, whether a police officer or a politician or any ordinary Ghanaian who assaults a journalist in the line of duty, they are emboldened to keep perpetrating these dastardly acts. Unfortunately, that's the reality. a whole desk was created under the previous administration. I remember when...
It's sad. We have been joined now by the Communications Director for the Opposition MPP, Mr. Richard Agyabeng. Mr. Richard Agyabeng, good afternoon and thank you for making time to speak with us on short notice. A lot has happened today, but we are kicking off with... Can you hear me now, please?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now, please?
I can hear you.
Yes, a lot has happened today. The words have been exchanged between both sides concerning who is indeed responsible for what we have witnessed today. But, Mr. Agyabeng, largely, let me ask you, because I'm responsible for what we have witnessed today. But, Mr. Agyabeng, largely, I'm yet to speak to you on your thoughts on this. I'm yet to speak to you on your thoughts on this. What's your thoughts? What's your take on all of this?
Well, thank you. Good afternoon to your viewers and Ghanaians who today are shocked beyond recognition what is happening in our country. Quite simply, what we are seeing unfold in Ablekuma North, in 19 polling station areas, is not democracy. Quite simply, we should call it what it is. It is not democracy. It's violence. It's violence. And the NDC is watching. The government is watching as if it's okay. It's not okay. This should not be happening. This should not be happening. And as Ghanaians, it doesn't matter where your sensitivities are. This is wrong. This is unacceptable. I want to pay tribute to one NDC person. I don't remember the person's name, but made a comment on a post that I made earlier, and I agreed that this is wrong. This is wrong and should not be allowed to happen. I agree with that NDC person. I think the person knows themselves, who commented on my post. I commend the person. To come to the point where, in spite of her political colors, agree that this is wrong, all of us should call it what it is. Unacceptable. I have confidence in President John Dramani Mahama's decency, his appreciation for democracy, to be able to say also that this is wrong, and that these people, these bad Ghanaians, these undemocratic Ghanaians, should be brought to book for the sake of our democracy, today and always. So what we are watching is not democracy. For me, who will win today is immaterial to me. A process is marred. A process to select whoever the person becomes. It's not a democratic process, and we have to call it simply that, so that we'll never allow ourselves to repeat it again.
Seated next to me is my colleague, Banahene.
Watched this morning, and I saw him. You can see the pain in his eyes. It doesn't matter who did it. The police officer who did that, I don't think that makes him man enough to be wearing that uniform. It's infantile what he did. Quite simply a journalist, unprovoked, showing that you are strong, that you have power. It's an abuse. And I think that beyond every punishment that he will suffer, he should be made to apologize to Banahene, to apologize to him. He's not been man enough. And he's been childish. And he's been irresponsible. He's not deserving of the uniform he's wearing. When we empower people in the security service, we don't empower them so they can bully the citizens. The power that is used to empower them is power vested in us. Its purpose is to protect us, ensure that we abide by the law. Banahene didn't break any law today. The other female journalist I saw, when you saw her face, she was scared. She was angry. She was crying in her soul. You can see tears, but the tears didn't matter much. The pain in her heart is exceeding. The question I ask is that why? Why? And in fact, all those people who are wreaking those havoc have no business to be there. They have no business to be there, especially the police interfering with the process of election beyond protecting the people. So at what point are you trying to maltreat a journalist who is there just as you are there to ensure that the process is peaceful? And in the end, we have a member of parliament for the good people, Ablekuma North. So for me, the whole, from the beating of journalists, the savage beating of members of parliament or a parliamentary candidate for Ablekuma North, former MPs, former MP and Minister, Madam Hawa Kumsen, and many other people who were assaulted, the Deputy National Organizer of the New Patriotic Party, in a manner that we saw today, is completely needless, is savage, and something that we shouldn't countenance. So for me, it's something that really stops at the doorsteps of the President, His Excellency GHOne Mahama. The buck stops with him. He must speak to the nation. He must tell this country that this is not the kind of country he wants to superintend. This is not the Ghana he wants to leave behind, and this is not the Ghana he wants to be called the president of. And so that these people can be brought to book. There's no way we can justify this beyond holding these people accountable to serve as deterrent for others in the future not to repeat what has been. People who are caught on camera, there are people who have wronged their fellow Ghanaians, thereby gone against the law, abused their personal liberties and rights and space. So whether they are NDC or anything else, they must be punished. The law knows them as lawbreakers, and so they must be punished. It shouldn't be down to whether they are NDC or not. So His Excellency GHOne Mahama to call to undertake a process where these people can be brought to book. If the president directs, this will be done. We need a state of inquiry to understand why the police who are supposed to be protecting us, watch for civilians to fight, to beat each other, for the strong and powerful abuse the weak, for the peace-loving people to be abused by the violent. What allowed for that? What incentive gave the police the presence of mind to be quiet for that to happen? We need an inquiry. The president must lead. This is the time. I have every confidence, as stated before, that His Excellency GHOne Mahama, with his record, I don't think that would want this madness, this savagery to be part of his history, his legacy. So whether it is the NDC that released anybody or any other person, that's not the matter. The matter is that those who have wronged the law, those who have abused their fellow citizens must be punished. Whether they be NDC or MPP, we know them. We have seen them. Ghana has seen all of them. What is waiting to happen? What we are waiting they're doing? No, if they're not supposed to be doing it, it's against the law. Let them be punished. It is only then that we'll see if it is NDC on NDC or MPP on MPP. That cannot be the preoccupation. That's not the cause. That's the effect. What they are doing, or whoever they are doing what they are doing, is the effect. The cause of it is that some two people decide to break on the crime they have done rather than looking for their... That's immaterial. We would have punished their crime and deter them from repeating it in the future.
Mr. Nyamba, are you assured by the assurance from the Interior Minister that what we all witness, and we are still witnessing, is a crime and it will be treated as such? Are you assured by these comments?
In the meantime, you take that with a pinch of salt until people are brought to book. From December 7th, 2024, there have been widespread abuse and violence. The NDC government has not brought anyone book. In fact, this election that has to be rerun needn't be rerun, but the NDC forced it. Simply what ought to have been done in this case was for Ghana Police, according to the ruling of the High Court, to provide security for collation of the result of 3 polling stations. The NDC refused to allow for this to happen. Violence was used to terrorize the EC, until we got to where we are today. And so the idea that mere assurances by them, all of these things stops with him. He is the boss, stops with him. He is the boss, he is the executive president of this country. He is to have my comment earlier, as I said, I want to reiterate, say that I have confidence in the president's decency. His record suggests that. And I think that on this occasion, he must rise to the occasion and make sure that what we know of him materializes, that his good self comes through for Ghana, because our democracy needs it. We need this example once and for all to tell people. I can see flashing in my eye right now the idea that a group of people will on the floor. I'm saying that if today, where you are, somebody feels that, oh, is that my mother they did that to? The person who did that I know, so I'm going right to his house and visit that onto his mother. Can you imagine the cascading effect of what has happened today? His Excellency, with all due respect, something ought to be done. It's not as if the New Patriotic Party doesn't have men. If it came to that, we'll burn this country. And that's not what we want. So the president must act. Okay. So this is nipped in the bud. Nobody learns from this bad example to repeat it anywhere in our country again.
Indeed, what we have witnessed today is no one that we all are happy about. But polls are closing in the next 5 minutes, and we are expecting...
with all the fighting they have done, with all the plotting they put in place today to do, they want to win these seats by hook or crook. At the end of the day, if the EC declares this seat for the NBC, they would have stolen it. And so whichever way it is, the New Patriotic Party would have won this seat, but the NDC will have annexed. But posterity will judge them. And I just pray that nobody does this to the NDC someday in the future. But in the end, the New Patriotic Party has won this seat. Whoever wins it today, if it's not the New Patriotic Party, it will be a New Patriotic Party that has been annexed by the National Democratic Congress.
Mr. But just before you go, let me give you this opportunity. Maybe you might have not had opportunity to address this. Do you think, as party, you could have handled Ablekuma North differently? It has come up in our discussion. That's why I'm asking you. Do you think you could have handled it differently?
The handling of Ablekuma North was clear. It was for the EC to collate the
vice president, even the MPP's parliamentary candidate in the Ablekuma North constituency, addressing the media. Let's bring you that by before we look at what the former vice president as well had to say. We'll bring you that back shortly. As I mentioned to you, the MPP at a point you could see from the videos that we have shown you earlier how Akumsin standing there with the Ewusu during that particular incident. But later on, she came back and you could see some party bigwigs join her. Yeah. There was Brian A. Champon, there was the former national organizer Samia Wuku, and some other people there who stepped in to address what happened. But even before I bring you that bite, Hannah Bisu, she's now the administrator for the Minerals Development Fund.
And still the national women organizer for
the opposition, that's for the sitting NDC. Yeah. Now, she has had cause to react to some of the happenings. Let's take a listen to that.
So I condemn violence, but please, don't ask me to feel sorry for her, Kumsin, because I'll be lying before you and before God. I don't feel sorry one bit.
She deserves it.
Interview her victims.
Go and ask her.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, yes. Go and ask her. And also, I'm a victim of Hawa Kumsin. Ask her if I deserve the men that she brought to come and attack me. Yeah. Ask her the people that they shot and killed at Kaswa. And the organizer that died. Go and ask her the guns that she shot and people that did they deserve it? Yeah. If I move away, a parliamentary candidate, what they did to her, did she deserve it? And ask her, Kumsen, the slaps that they gave to me when they were pulling me out of my moving vehicle to continue beating me. Honorable Amate from Teshi, he used to be the MC for Teshi. I think that he thought I deserve it, so she brought the tax to come and attack me. So whatever happened, if I did, she deserves it better.
I'll come back to this, but let's listen to what the MPP also had to say concerning incidents that happened earlier.
As why early in the morning, the NDC hoodlums came in, attacked our agents, destroyed the election materials, went after our party agents, beat her up mercilessly, attacked Honorable Hao Kumsin, who was standing far away with Honorable Dakwa Niman, and stood her ground. They numbered about 30 of them. The police could not stop them. I was there myself. I'm sure a lot of you have seen me on the City TV interview. They came in with guns and machete, and the police simply had no weapons. So they had to run for their lives. So far, we have been here, and it is quite clear that the elections has resumed. We are calling on every single person at home to come out and come and vote. At this point, it's been restored and has come here. And so the candidates will now speak. But before the candidate speaks, please, it's very important that the Inspector General of Police gets to know what the NDC have been doing since morning, and know that we cannot afford not to complete and conclude the coalition today too. Because from the way things are going, just as we have done here at the Methodist police station, it's every police station for the coalition. If they fail to protect us, we will protect ourselves just as we...
I have visited 16 polls, 4 and 5. Everywhere is chaotic. Woman, the hoodlums, thugs, macho men, all over, almost about 200, every police station. And now, almost vote a woman be babe to ama me never perform. If it's obia him say, obia obepie bia no, obeto aba maku every year. These police stations, obia obeto be obeto ama me. And crofo any abre. Now people are afraid to come out. Crofo, e feel say omo ba, say no omo twetio, any a second any agyan ni ade no. Ya be bra no. It's a man for she fee. But me person make two. A catcher me for say. Mopie, Obiamra no metal. Obie ni wa, a bind war, Abba, a bind war home. Police for no Mesramo, IGP, so I won the apostle. Yeah, 3 police stations. Once they want to provide this security. After 19, they also provide this. And yes, macho men are here with security. Ablekuma North. Light of Gospel Miracle Church. Utate. Agents. For hospitals. Why do you have to do this? And ballot box. Why?
It is important for us to know that there are people's lives that are at stake. From here, we are going to visit Honorable Hao Kumsin, who is currently fighting for her life. Why should any citizen battle for her survival because of elections? There are 6 people who were injured right there. I was there, right before me, and they are in the hospitals. For now, we have remained resolute. We have been able to stand our grounds. And these hoodlums have run away, and everybody should come and vote. We are asking the Inspector General of Police to ensure that he sees what has happened as a precursor and put in place the necessary...
Oh, so you can...
Our deputy national organizer has been attacked. So many of them, Oko, Asante, many women have been attacked. At every election, we want to see that the democracy is being enhanced. And this is very important for the peace and stability of our country. You recall that the background to this particular by-election is that the police had told the EC that they were unable to provide security to collate 3 pink sheets, just security to collate 3 pink sheets. But for some reason, they were able to find security to conduct elections in 19 polling stations. And today, our people are being attacked with the police presence and unable to provide security. We don't want the country and political parties to start to think that they have to provide for their own safety. This would be a recipe for disaster if every political party has to raise their own army to give them protection during an election. But this is the message that is being sent. What we have to be clear about is that the people who have perpetrated these acts have been caught on video. I call on the president to take action, and all the people in charge of this country, the administration, to take action to bring the perpetrators to book. This is the only way we can deter this in the future. But we have seen them, and let me assure them that should they not be brought to book, we will not forget. They will be brought to book no matter how long it takes. We will not forget what has happened. We want peace in this country. This is not the democracy that Ghana wants to see. And so it is very important that these sorts of terrible acts are not encouraged.
Well, the IGP made his way to the particular polling station where the major pockets of violence was recorded. That is the St. Peter's Methodist Church, or Dockers, around the Buzia Junction area. Now, after his visit, the ranking member of the Interior and Defense Committee of Parliament, Reverend GHOne and Team GHOne, also made his way there. He actually spoke to the media after the IGP was there. Let's listen to him too.
Let us continue to, particularly the key actors in our democracy, continue to make voting day a very peaceful day that everybody will look up to. It shouldn't be full of rancor, full of violence, retribution, reprisal. It is going to...
The security handling, as we've seen deployed...
I'm going to give you my considered opinion, but I'm saying that we need to have the election done with within the next few hours. Let's encourage people who have not voted yet to come out and vote.
What did you say to the IGP?
Well, voting has officially ended across almost all the polling stations, and so counting will begin. But of course, the collation, as we do understand it from the Electoral Commission, the official elections management body for our country, is that the collation will be done at the Greater Accra Regional Headquarters of the Electoral Commission. And so the IGP made his way there to check on proceedings and preparations ahead of that collation. So on your screens now, you could see the visit by the IGP to the Regional Collation Center here in Accra. For security purposes, I will not mention the exact location.
Yes, but I was there before we came back on air, and I could count no less than 5 buses, and I mean huge buses, the STC type buses, wow, full of policemen.
Wow.
And they were making their way to the location for the collation. And they've mounted barricades there as well. And so when it comes to security for this evening's exercise relative to the collation, I think all that needs to happen is that transporting the materials be transported. From what we gather and from what we've witnessed, we can be rest assured that by close of day today, obviously the people of Ablekuma North should have a name as to who their member of parliament elect is. Yes.
Now, and as IB mentioned, the 5 buses that you could see moved to the collation center, it gives you an indication of what we are likely to see.
Yeah.
There is so much effort being put in place to ensure that the violence recorded in the previous collations, that is not seen today.
Yeah.
Because either way, there is the indication, and I'm sure the police have had intelligence that whoever wins, one party will not be happy, and there's likely a case for something to happen. And so, for those who do not know why this particular rerun is quite important, pretty shortly we'll bring you the numbers.
Yeah.
We'll look at the entire constituency. We'll look at what they have had to deal with in the 180 days. We'll look at the numbers there. We'll look at the numbers left. Yeah. We'll tell you who is leading per the pre-collated results, and then we'll give you an indication of what we think the voter turnout number would be, and we'll tell you what we feel and think based on our own input that if a candidate should get this number, the popular word is comfortable lead.
Comfortable lead, yes.
But we call it the victory benchmark.
Exactly.
That is the benchmark. If you are able to cross that particular number, you should be in safe hands and say that, okay, I'm getting somewhere to win the election.
Most definitely, Agyabeng, because you just eliminate what has been done already.
Yeah.
We told that per the pre-collated results, the NPP is leading with just a little over 40 votes.
Yeah, 48 exactly, 48.
It will have to just take one polling station result to undo that, depending on how it goes, right? Yeah. Now, if the NPP is equally able to win overwhelmingly in majority of these 19 polling stations, that will be cementing on the 40 lead and adding on. And so, yes, when you are the numbers man, when you run the numbers and you get the benchmark or the threshold that one needs to cross to be home and dry, you have a fair idea as to the task ahead. So far, what is in the power of these candidates they have done? Agyabeng and Agyabeng. What is left is the EC to give us what the content of the ballot boxes are.
So as you can see on your screens, the IGP making his way, but we are crossing over to the St. Peter's Methodist Church where voting, as you can see, is done. You can see heavy police presence over there, heavy police presence to man the counting. Now you can see the ballot box in the screen being open and show to agents there that there's nothing in it, and it's an indication that counting is beginning. You can see some media persons crossing our cameras there, but everyone is trying to catch a glimpse of what is being done there. I can count no less than a score of policemen. That's more than 20, if my count is right. Yeah, there's more even on the other side. So.
Yeah, they called for reinforcement. So yes, the security there had been fortified as a result of the skirmishes that were recorded.
Yeah. So we are looking forward to see what the count will be over there. As you saw the ballot box open. My colleague Obed King Gaglo is there. He's the one whose pictures we can see live on screen. Obed, tell us what more is behind the visuals we can see on the screen now.
Right. So Emmanuel, here at the Methodist Church, specifically St. Peter's Society here in Odoko, the process has ended and they are sorting out the ballot papers in your shots as you have it there. We are counting and sorting by the electoral officer. Maximum security presence here. So Emmanuel, that's the situation here at the Methodist Church St. Peter's Society here in Odoko.
Now, Obed, given what we have recorded over there in terms of the pockets of violence and the happenings over there, do you see any party bigwigs around the area still? And if not, how are residents there coping, especially with the heavy security presence there now?
Right. Emmanuel, so I can tell you there's a lot of people here. As you have it in the shots, they are here in their numbers along the roadside, also trying to catch a glimpse of what's happening. The youth, the old, all persons, and there's heavy traffic situation, as you can see here, because it's a roadside. You see the vehicles are unable to move because of the heavy human presence here. And so, yes, a number of people are still here, but there's no encounter here, there's no violence here, but I can tell you there is tension. A lot of people are here trying to catch a glimpse, but they are not allowed to enter. And so that's what's happening over here right now, here at the Methodist Church, the society, where the process is ongoing and ballot has ended.
But, Obed, can you hear me? What happened earlier in the afternoon is one that has been taken note of by the Ghana Police Service to ensure that some law and order is maintained in that particular area. I mean, I have chanced on the statement from the National. The National Peace Council on all of this. But if you look at the numbers there, when it comes to counting the results over there, does it give you the firm assurance that this evening we are likely to be okay?
I think the security arrangement there is failing to take cognizance of the fact that inherent in this process. But a few meters away from that, the media is supposed to be allowed to monitor what's happening. And that's how come...
I couldn't agree more with you. But as we've mentioned, as counting has begun at St. Peter's, the same has been done at the DVLA office at Awoshi. And my colleague Charles, he spoke to us earlier, and that was the place where we recorded the low voter turnout. What is happening there now? As counting officially began, and what are the numbers saying so far?
Yes, please. So let me welcome viewers and everyone once again. Currently, I'm at the Esiedu Jedu at Awoshi. Esiedu Jedu. So counting has started here. And as I'm talking to you now, they are done with the new Patriotic Party. That is Honorable Equia Efie. So at Esiedu Jedu, Equia Efie had 112. Okay. 112 currently as I'm talking to you now. So Esiedu Jedu NPP Equia Efie had 112. So now they are counting NDC according to the presiding officer from the Electoral Commission is 480. That is the number given to us. So 180. That is the number given to us. So I mean the counting of the new Patriotic Party is being done already, and she had 112 at Esiedu. And they are now counting that of a Rabna Obin of the National Democratic Congress. And so far they've gotten to 88. But let me take a little bit, security here has been, have been beefed up out here. So they've done the first set of the 100 counting, and Rabna also has gotten 100. So they are 100. Doing another set of count here as I'm talking to you.
Now, Charles, if you can go over the numbers again for the benefit of our viewers, what has been counted so far at Esiedu Jedu? Unfortunately, we have lost.
All right, so as I said earlier on, at Esiedu Jedu at Awoshi, the new. So you can see the jubilation here. This is Esiedu Jedu. A Rabna Obin had 120 from Esiedu Jedu, and the new Patriotic Party, Equia Efie, had 112. That is a difference of 8 from the Esiedu Jedu. So as you can see, these are the supporters here. That they started jubilating from the Esiedu Jedu. So from the Esiedu Jedu police station, NDC, Rabna Obin had 120, and New Patriotic Party, Honorable Equia Efie, also had 112. That is 112. So I'm leaving here to DVLA, and let me see how the procedure is always going there. So far from the Esiedu Jedu, this is currently what they do. This is currently what is happening here as I'm talking.
Now, do we have any rejected ballots over there?
Thank you.
Yeah, can you hear me? I was asking of rejected ballots.
Come again.
I was asking of rejected ballots at that police station. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I was asking of rejected ballots. Were there any?
All right. Was there any rejected ballot? All right. So there was no rejected. There was no rejected from There was no rejected from, according to the presiding officer.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much for speaking to us. We'll be waiting for the numbers from other polling stations. So what we have now is 1 out of 19.
All right.
And the one that we have, we can see that NDC's Rabna Obere is leading the MPP's Usu Efriye by some 8 votes.
8 votes,
So
yes.
it's quite Usu
Yes.
has 112 as compared to the NDC's Rabna Obeng, who has 120. And we have 0 rejected votes.
Yes.
And so the total valid vote cast is around 232.
Exactly.
That's
That's
the
for the Esiedu Jedu.
Yes, polling station.
Yes.
The votes and the counts are going to be trickling in, and so the numbers would have to be very soon calculated. I told you earlier we'll be bringing you an analysis into what this whole election is about, why the numbers matter so much, and what we believe is the number that each candidate is like. Should she get, would cross and be the one declared as Member of Parliament for the Ablekuma North constituency. Stick and stay with us. After this break, my colleague Bernes Abubedu Lanza takes over. But of course, I'll come back with the numbers. IB will be here. Tutu Adanso is always here as well. We'll have that conversation shortly. Don't go away.
Become a time in all of our lives.
But it's also and Equifrie of MPP polled 97 votes, and then Rabna Obin of the NDC polled 118 votes. So that's for DVLA, Aoshi polling station. Once again, Equifrie of MPP, 97, so joining.
Okay.
What else do you have?
In a bit, let me just find. So I think we mentioned that of the St. Peter's Methodist Church, where the total number of people expected to vote was 464. We had Equifrie polling 77, and NDC's Irabna Obin polling 130 with 2 rejected ballots. And let's go to the God First polling station, where the NPP's Equifrie polled 108, with the NDC's Irabna Obin polling 100 votes at that particular polling station. Then we have for the Pentecost at North Odoko, where the NPP polled 15 and the NDC polled 18. And yeah.
Polling station 2.
Okay.
And then we have polling station 4. So you've given us polling station,
polling
2.
Station 2.
Give us polling station 4.
Okay, in a bit, mine
quickly
just
do that.
Okay.
For polling station 4, the NPP's Equifrie had 21 and the NDC's had 38. We'll be bringing you the figures as and when we get them, but let me quickly cross over to Emmanuel Agyabeng, because we want to make sense of the numbers. We don't just want to throw numbers at you. So we know that the expected people for this rerun with 6,000, as it is with elections of this nature. You don't have everybody showing up, right, Emmanuel? Usually you would strike, to be on the safe side, say at most 50% of the voters expected will turn up. So if we're doing that for this rerun, that should be around 3,000, right?
Yes.
Tell us what the magic number is and why it is.
So speaking of the Ablekuma North constituency and the 19 polling stations that we are dealing with over here, I'm going to skip all of these. We'll come back to it as the conversations unfold. I'm sure you'd be concerned why I'm skipping all these numbers, but let's get to the magic number, because people would want to know now what each of the candidates needs to surpass to just get better. And I want to start with the pre-collated results. What we have now is that 260 polling stations have been collated out of the 281, and that's why we are here today, where we are seeing votes happen at 19 polling stations, the count happen, and then the collation later on to be done at the regional headquarters of the EC here in Accra. Now, per the 260 polling stations, for the MPP, they have 32,512 votes. Goes to the NDC. So if you look at the numbers, the distribution margin, it means that the MPP is in the lead of some 48 votes. It puts the MPP at 50.04% and brings the NDC's position to 49.6%. Now, if you run this number, 64,000, as of the 260 polling stations, 262 polling stations, if you look at the total number of valid votes expected over there, and you peg it at the 64,000, means that you have a voter turnout of around 57%. And this 57% was during December 7 elections. And we are 180 days beyond December 7. What we have seen today is a working day. What we have seen today as well are pockets of violence. What we have seen today as well is a party that said we will not contest, and the member of parliament, the parliamentary candidate saying we'll contest. What we are seeing today is another party saying, you know what, go out there and vote. So all of these dynamics will come to bear on the total 100%. I know the historical trend when it comes to the Ablekuma North constituency has been that they are almost always having a voter turnout beyond 60%. But if we are going to look at the safest benchmark, we'll do the 57%. That is what we're going to go with. If you look at this 57%, look at the total number, we have 6,863. That is the number that is expected to have voted today as of 5 p.m. 1,956 as of this voter turnout, and they could be declared winner by the EC. But what we have in our hands now is a distribution factor. The factor being that the MPP is already leading by some 48 votes. And so when you are doing the calculation, you have to create a threshold, a 5 to 10% threshold. That is what I decided to use, a 5 to 10% threshold, where whatever distribution factor there is, if you are able to beat that 5 to 10% margin, it means that you can be in the popular parlance confidently that they are the ones that won this particular post. But then usually it is best to go with the midpoint. And so, Ben, as you mentioned, the victory number, what number they need to cross. I call it the benchmark. And with the polls and the results I'm seeing so far, I am getting the confidence that a number may not be far from truth when the EC finally collates and declares who won this rerun. And so for me, the victory benchmark in this polls is this particular number. 2,104. If any candidate, whether Ikia Usu Efriye or Irabna Oben, is able to cross 2,104, that person can confidently say, I am in a comfortable lead. 2,104. It is a very conservative number. But if you look at the happenings, as I mentioned to you earlier, if you look at the trend, people are pegging a higher than usual voter turnout. Some I have seen reports pegging it around, some have gone as high as 85, some have come as low as 64. But we will take the conservative approach and stick to around 57%. The 57%, it gives us a voter turnout per count of 3,912 out of the 6,863. Now, using that particular turnout as the baseline, it means that when we are looking at a benchmark figure where each of the candidates needs to cross to be declared the member of parliament elect for the Ablekuma North constituency, that number has to be 2,104. And I am getting more confident in this number. I wasn't before, because usually one would say perhaps it's where I studied and where I'm coming from. There's always the notion that you take the very conservative approach. Between the lowest and the highest, you always go for the lower number. The actuaries will not agree with that. But per my own understanding, perhaps my own biases, but per the data I analyze, this is the number that I believe is the victory benchmark. So should Irabna Obin or should Ikia also free across 2,104, they should be in a comfortable lead. They should be nearing victory. And this number, I believe, whoever is declared winner will cross it.
Interesting. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. Jumping there with the numbers, like I mentioned, we have our eyes on the ground, the various polling stations, bringing you the figures as they're trickling in. We understand that the results are coming through fast and thick. And IB, the numbers are interesting, and but another thing for me is, you know, in conversations about what happened at Ablekuma North on December 7, the reason we're here today, there were concerns about the validity or otherwise of certain scan sheets that were presented by the NPP, which the NDC said it could not take or authenticate as what it should be. We are now seeing photos of pink sheets getting onto social media, and I believe it is a lesson from the previous one. But we have some figures coming through, right?
Yes, we do. And this is a picture of a filled pink sheet.
Right.
Which is more like the original. Because the writings are in ink. I mean pen. Right. And so this one we can say, yes, the figures we are giving you, because we are not the body mandated to declare results, are provisional. That point must be made abundantly clear. But these provisional figures are equally coming from polling stations. Results have been counted and declared in the full glare of the public. So the one we have here is from the Roman Catholic Church, that's Busia Junction, Odoko 1 polling station. And just as the trend, with Nanekuye Free in the lead. Yes, the others will have her lose marginally, but where Irabna Obin is winning, the numbers sometimes are quite steeper, right? So we are not saying anything conclusive yet, but we're beginning to see a trend.
Right.
And the trend is some results neck to neck with Irabna edging with a few figures. In some polling stations, Irabna is winning with about 50 margin, sometimes 20 margin. There was one that pre-collated results. She's leading by 58 votes. So with each vote, that goes in favor of Irabina Obin, she chips something away.
It crosses it out.
Exactly.
Interesting. So we'll also be going back to the various polling, get a sense and a feel of what's happening. It's about 5 minutes to 6 p.m. Learning from the lessons of past elections, we are hoping that we can do this as soon as possible before darkness sets in on us. Also because of security concerns, unfortunately, we have recorded some unfortunate incidents. And I was just mentioning that the minority caucus in Parliament has been reacting to these incidents of violence. What exactly has the caucus been saying?
Well, so there's a statement from the caucus, and I think the caucus timed the release of the statement just at the close of polls. That was when we got the statement. And it says, statement on incident of lawlessness at the Ablekuma North constituency, I must add. And it goes further to say that the minority caucus strongly condemns the act of lawlessness and violence that have marred the parliamentary rerun election of 19 polling stations in the Ablekuma North constituency today. We are deeply concerned by the recurrence of violent disruptions by NDC thugs led by Malik Basintale, Deputy National Communications Officer, and Mustafa Gbande, Deputy General Secretary of the NDC. Videos circulating show that they are inciting, directing, and ordering acts of violence. Regrettably, senior NDC officials who should be condemning such actions because they are complicit are justifying them, implicating themselves in this assault on democracy. These actions continue to erode the democratic processes and deprive the people of Ablekuma as these party thugs carried out their disruptive and violent act, is particularly egregious given the threats issued by Malik Basintale yesterday at a rally where he openly encouraged their supporters to engage in such conduct. Equally reprehensible is the appearance of the ministers of the Interior and Defense at polling stations. Their presence was nothing more than a public gimmick designed to feign concern while masking their gross inaction and complicity in the thuggery.
And IB, just hold on there for me. We'll come back to that statement shortly. Right. I quickly have to go to the Radiant Way polling station. We understand there is some sporadic shooting happening there. Charles is there for us. Charles, what exactly is happening? What can you report?
All right, so thank you. Let me welcome viewers once again. Earlier on, there was
and
here
this
police commander,
is a troubling development as we're seeing.
The
Radiant Way polling and recorded.
To go straight to the polling center where the results are being, transported. So there was a little bit misunderstanding between the commander and the presiding officer. But as I'm talking to you now, everything has been solved and resolved now. So they are now heading towards the coalition center at Odoko. So earlier on, I wanted to join. So that was the little misunderstanding that transpired here at the Living Spring polling center at Bintu, Kwashibu.
Right, Charles,
so
apologies.
As I'm talking to you now, everything is done and they've transported the ballot boxes and everything to the polling center at Odoko.
If you can hear me, unfortunately, we had to cut our transmission to you because we couldn't clearly get a sense of what you were saying. Forgive me, you would have to recap what you've been saying. What exactly happened and what led to the shooting?
All right. So at the Living Spring polling center, after the coalition, I think everything was done. So the police in charge of the security force asked the presiding officer and the monitor from the Electoral Commission that the results should be sent to the coalition center at Odoko, where all the commissioner is there waiting for the results. But there was a little bit misunderstanding between the presiding officer and the police commander. According to the presiding officer, they were to go around and pick other ballot boxes from other centers. But according to the police commander, she also said that was not the instruction given to her. So from her police center, I mean, everything is transported straight to the police, the coalition center. So that was a little bit misunderstanding between them. But I think some of the officers also, I mean, indulging, and everything has been solved here right now from the Living Spring Coalition Center. So as I'm talking to you, they've now moved everything, or the final results and the ballot papers and the ballot balls to the coalition center,
So just
where
to be clear,
it's supposed to be sent to.
Just to be clear, there was no shooting. There was confusion, however.
There was no shooting.
Right.
There was no confusion. Everything was absolutely okay and was very calm here at the Living Spring Polling Center.
All right. Thank you very much. And just some clarification we need to make here. Initial reports suggest that there may have been some shooting. Our reporter is just clarifying that that did not happen. There was just a bit of misunderstanding about whether the officers in charge at the Living Spring collation or polling station should go directly to the collation center, or they should move to other polling stations and pick up the boxes and results and transport to the collation center. The officer in charge says that was not the instruction given here, and so they just had to move straight to the collation center. And IB, you can understand, because en route to some of these places, we know the kind of stories we hear, even on election day, about a certain taxi driver who had to transport some ballot boxes and how he was intercepted, and too many stories of drama surrounding these things. So the officer doesn't want to be caught in the middle of all of this, I guess.
You're right, Benis. But my challenge is, okay, unless the directive is, then there will be that subsequent transportation of the materials once again to the regional head office.
Okay, so that's a very, very, very important question. But it also brings to mind why, in this day and age, we're not just taking advantage of technology, because I'm assuming all these bottlenecks can be addressed. So at a polling station, when all the agents verify, a copy of the pink sheet, I'm believing, as it was done during the general election, should be faxed or sent via WhatsApp to a certain platform or to a certain number, and then, you know, quickly we put them together. And you know what that also does? It gives us speed. And you're almost having real-time collation and real-time results, so that we don't have to drag it and then create a lot of tension, which usually results in violence.
As we are witnessing. But you're right. But the EC is mindful of the reaction from the political parties. Venice, I tell you that in this country, we were once told that results that had been faxed had been intercepted midway. Figures changed before they arrived at the EC headquarters in this country. But then EC had an engagement with an Israeli company, STL. The office premises of STL were raided by party officials, because the allegation was that when the results were faxed to the strong room of the EC, but then the EC had a strong room, there was a mechanism of intercepting the fax results mid-air, effect changes before they arrive. So the EC is mindful of these outrageous claims that could possibly come from these political parties. That's why it goes the manual way.
Right.
With time we'll get there, and I think we should get there sooner than we are trying
these polling stations are 19.
Exactly.
This should be a good test run if any system like that exists.
Even here, by the time we leave here, we can tell who the winner is here on this platform.
Yes. I totally agree with you. But we also have some results coming. Through IB.
Yes.
Just round up on them through IB.
Yes.
Just round up on the
Yes. So
minority.
what Osahene Alexander Kwame Nafenyomakin does, after what I've related to, where he's naming specific NDC officials and making allegations against them. He goes ahead to enumerate all the issues and where they happen, including the attacks the attack on our reporter, Banahene, as well, and come to the firm conclusion that this process that we have just witnessed is a charade. It's an affront to everything democratic. And the question is that things must be done right and the perpetrators must be brought to book. Signed by the minority leader, Alexander Kwamena.
By the General Secretary of the...
Be done right and the perpetrators must be brought to book. Signed by the minority leader, Alexander Kwamena.
By the General Secretary of the governing NDC, who
Yes.
says that whoever perpetrated that act of abuse or violence against Howard Kumsin is not the subject matter. Whatever it is, whoever did it doesn't justify the action. Wrong is wrong. But Tutua, we have some figures coming through. We'll be projecting them shortly.
In a bit.
Can you kindly run us through?
Okay. In a minute, I'll just go through the provisional results. Okay, well, they are here. So we have from Esiedu Jedu at Awoshi, that is happens to be a Rabna Oben's stronghold, and there she polled about 120 with the NPP's Ekuya Efriye polling 112. Again, at the Esiedu Jedu polling station, Rabna Oben polled 120 with Ekuya Efriye polling 112. And the God First polling station, Rabna Oben polled 120 with Ekuya Efriye polling 112. And the God First polling station, Rabna Oben of the NDC polled 100, and Ekuya Efriye of the NPP polled 108. Again, at the God First polling station, Rabna Oben had 100 of the votes cast, and Ekuya Efriye also had 108 of the votes at the God First polling station. Now, Living Spring at Bintu, Rabna Oben polled 114, with Ekuya Efriye polling 104. Some 10 votes difference there. So, Rabna Oben of the NDC polling 114, and Ekuya Efriye polling 104 at the Living Spring Bintu. I'm sure somewhere around Awoshi or Kwashiman. So that has been the provisional results that we've had so far, and the host of others will be trickling in. Okay, so there's one for the Pentecost North Odoko 2. That's where Rabna Oben polled 18, with the Ekuya Efriye polling 15. So this is Pentecost North Odoko 2. Rabna Oben had 18, and the Ekuya Efriye had 15. Running through a host of others, I see, okay, there's Pentecost North Odoko 4, where Rabna Oben evidently in the lead with 38, and Ekuya Efriye's NPP polled 21. At the Pentecost North Odoko 4, Rabna Oben of the NDC polled 38, and Ekuya Efriye of the NPP polling 21 there at the Pentecost North Odoko 4. One of the 19 polling station results that have to be collated for the final determination to be made for the Ablekuma North constituency. We now have the Radiant Way polling station, where Rabna Oben is pretty much in the lead with 67 votes. Rabna Oben of the NDC at the Radiant Way polling station has 67 votes, and Ekuya Efriye of the NPP has 61 of the votes cast. And once again, these are provisional results coming in from the Radiant Way polling station, where the NDC's Rabna Oben seems to be in the lead with 67 votes, and Ekuya Efriye with 61 of the votes.
Right, we have some of the figures also coming through. The Lord's Pentecostal Church, Ekuya Efriye 106, Rabna Oben 147. There was no rejected ballot, and there was no rejected ballot. Pentecost Church Mount Zion, Ekuya Efriye 136, Rabna Oben 106. Interesting results coming through. But let me take you to
the results you just gave
yes,
us.
exactly. Let me take you to the regional office of the Electoral Commission, where ballot boxes are arriving. Indicates a familiar office. This time round, though, we hope that the matter can be brought to finality.
The louvers have been fixed.
The louvers have been fixed. Interesting. Good observation there, IB. But just so you know that we are there, we've got our men on the ground. and hopefully we should be done. I actually don't expect this to take too long, do we?
No.
19 polling stations shouldn't be something that we take forever to collate. So
But then again,
right.
you have the actions of the supporters being quite unpredictable. In as much as we've said that at the regional coalition center, there's a lot of security personnel deployed there. You can't predict what the supporters may want to do there.
Obviously.
I've actually witnessed an incident talking about the Agyabeng constituency, where the final coalition was supposed to be done at the regional coalition center, just behind us. And the supporters trooped in. They didn't care about the fact that there were police personnel deployed there. They were destroying stuff, the police barrier, throwing them away, throwing stones at the police vehicles available. And so I'm hoping that indeed finality will be brought to all of this. But then again, we hope the supporters have been programmed to accept and act peacefully for this to be done, completely by the end of today.
All right, so these are live visuals coming to you. If you are listening to us on Star FM, you can get onto our Facebook page. If you're interested in seeing what exactly is happening, there we can see a lot of jute bags, what we locally call Ghana Must Go bags. I'm sure, containing some materials that will be inspected and all that. But IB, I mean, Tutua makes a very valid point about the actions of sympathizers and supporters. Unfortunately, today's election has been one that didn't go without violence.
That's true.
And it appears to be a trend. And I mean, not to remind us of the pain of losing the Akwatia MP, but I'm only projecting and imagining what the Akwatia by-election would look like if anything security that happened today is to go by. Really concerning.
I agree, and your concerns are well-grounded. That of Tutu are well-grounded. But let me allay her fears. In about 30 minutes to 1 hour, the political parties will know their smoothness level. The losing team will not show up at the EC's head office, the regional head office. I've covered by-elections long enough to know that after all is said and done, the party that is certain in its mind that it has lost never should least because, yes,
concession had been made.
The security personnel were equally taking care of their heads. And so, with the little force applied by the party supporters, they gave way. I was there, personally. They gave way, and then they overran the barricade and then entered the inner perimeter of the EC regional office. We don't expect that to happen this time around. In fact, we don't even expect party supporters to be allowed to mass up in the way and manner they did the last time. That informs, I told you, I met not less than 5 buses full of police personnel on their way to the regional head office. So we should be rest assured that what we witness, probably even at the polling stations, will not be replicated at the collation center this time around. Yes. So, yes, the figures are trickling in. And like I said, the fact that the political parties have a system, by now they have all the results. As long as counting is done, the results are sent to a centralized location. We are talking about just 19 results of 19 polling stations. Trust me, the winner knows, the loser knows. The loser will not show up. And also, especially if Arabna turns out to be the victor and Anekwe Free loses. We all know the party's position before yesterday in the morning when she announced that she's going to contest. I'm not sure she will subject herself to that torrid, I dare say torture, of having to move from wherever she is, come to this same regional office where she has been on 4 separate occasions.
But she says she's a fighter. She says she's a politician. In fact, she did that with her fist up there, trying to signal strength, resilience, fortitude. Is it a case that you suspect that even if she feels once again cheated, even if she feels that the acts of violence may have resulted in voter suppression, she will let it go this time?
I don't doubt the fact that she's a fighter, right? She's equally a good dancer. Have you seen the video?
No.
Right.
You just have to do that.
Yes, she's equally a good dancer. But when the results come and the political parties do their own calculations and realize that they file out one after the other, they are gone.
They're gone. All right. Talking about that, let's head to the collation center now. Hanan Abdul Adam is there for us. Hello, Hanan. How many of these 19 polling stations results have come in so far?
Ben, it's quite a number of ballot boxes have made their way here, issued the Electoral Commission. Making their way through everything, the materials and implements of the election.
Sorry, Hanan, we have a challenge with your line. There appears to be some interruptions in there. We can't hear you clearly. If you can just try and work on that for us so that we can come back to you for the fine details of the number of results or the number of polling stations that have come through in terms of results, and so we can get a picture of what we have. But it's interesting, Ibrahim and Tutua, right? We're talking about 3,000, but with the figures I'm looking at now, is it a case that we have the polling stations with bigger voter population not coming through immediately? Obviously, that those with less numbers will be counted easily, right?
Well, to wait, we voted since time immemorial. We don't see anything, right? To many of them, it's not like they expect food on their table because they voted, but they expect their lives bettered one way or the other. The life of their children and their dependents bettered one way or the other. General elections, yes, the interest is there because they get to elect a president.
Exactly. It was a point I was just about to make. Yeah. Does this then suggest that people are more interested in the presidential elections and will just take advantage of the fact that they're going to elect who's president to vote for their MP?
Exactly.
Is that the hypothesis here?
And that's because some people go actually to vote for the president and leave
the MP.
They don't vote for the MP.
You're right.
Right? Because they feel the MP should be closer to me, so I should have a direct benefit from having given you employment. And so if I don't have it, then, hey, let me elect a president so then I can say that I partook in this exercise. So those dynamics are there. And so, yes, it's not surprising, and then the noise around it. Mind you, the biggest opposition party indicated that its supporters should not turn up until yesterday in the morning. So that is equally a factor that must be considered.
Right. And Tutua, even for the communication around whether the party had made a U-turn wasn't emphatic.
No.
All we know is that it was Agyabeng who suggested that the party base had asked her to contest to come, and that they were willing to give her their vote. So as to whether the NPP as a party made a U-turn, we didn't have that emphatic declaration like what was done during that press conference to say that they're withdrawing.
And you realize that the main man who announced the decision of the National Executive Council, that is Justin Frimpong Kudia, hasn't showed up to the constituency since the election started. Neither have we seen the national chairman of the party. He hasn't been there as well. And I've seen commentary on Facebook where people are actually blaming GHOne because we said we are pulling out. And you said Agyabeng should go. So whatever is happening now can be attributed to him. They've been several commentaries.
Well, I mean, we can understand,
like
but we have not received an official communication. And GHOne, the last time I checked, it's just a flag bearer hopeful. He is not
an executive
member of the party. So the party should have been clear in its communication. But let's go back to the Greater Accra Regional EC Collation Center. Hopefully we can get Hanan clear and crisp now. Hello, Hanan. How many polling station results have arrived at the Regional Collation Center?
Well, so Ben, it's quite a number of the ballot boxes for the various polling stations have arrived here. I've counted over 10 ballot boxes that have arrived here, and the various electoral officers who were manning the various polling stations or the returning officers have made their way here and are currently submitting their electoral materials to the collation officers here in the collation room right here at the regional headquarters of the Electoral Commission. And from whatever is happening here, they are now currently verifying what the returning officers and their other assistants brought from the respective polling stations in the Ablekuma North constituency to be verified before they are transmitted to the collation table, where we have various agents of the NDC and the MPP on standby and other observers of the respective parties currently also monitoring to ensure that whatever is being done here is done through transparent and fair. So more of the ballot boxes are arriving and they are going through the process of checking to ensure that all the necessary materials and pink sheets are intact before they are transferred to the table I showed you earlier, where the officers are verified to ensure that they are accurate before they are transmitted onto the table over here, where we have Dr. Rashid Franco Computer, who is an agent for the NDC, seated here with his machine or his laptop, ensuring that he captures all the necessary data, check it and verify and ensure that they are all accurate, so that the tallying will be done before the official declaration is done. So there you have it, officials of the Electoral Commission seated and ready to receive the pink sheet. So you can see they've just received one pink sheet over there, and they are trying to verify before they record it in their system, before all agents of the various parties. The NDC and the MPP are the only parties that we've seen here at the moment. So they are here to ensure that the right processes are adhered to for a successful collation and declaration to be done. So heavy police presence here. You see them over there with their equipment, well equipped to ensure that they provide the necessary security for the collation transmitted from the police station to the national collation room here for this particular election. So more and more of the electoral materials from the respective 19 polling stations are arriving. And I must tell you that there's also a heavy police presence outside, where to ensure that unauthorized persons do not gain access into this particular hall, where the collation exercise is expected to begin shortly. So you have men from the Ghana Police Service. You also have other assistants from other sister security agencies providing assistance to the national formed police units to ensure that there's sanity here without any chaos whatsoever. So agents, like I said, more and more pensions have arrived. They are going through it to authenticate. When they authenticate, they verify before it is captured in the system. Right. And then the numbers are projected onto the screen. So over there, you have observers who are also seated for the various parties. The national treasurer of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Charles Dromena, together with a former ambassador to China under the S1 Nana Addo Akufo-Addo regime, is also assisting the national treasurer as observers for the New Patriotic Party to ensure that the process is clean and transparent. Earlier, we thought that they were withdrawing, like you were discussing earlier with other colleagues in the party. When I engaged them earlier, they said that it's a national exercise, it's a civic duty, and it is their responsibility to come here and ensure that all the processes are fair, transparent, with integrity. And that the EC says it is a standing for. But, however, Bernice, I've not yet seen any senior official of the Electoral Commission, be it Dr. Bosman Asari or the other commissioners here. We're anticipating that the process will commence at about 7 p.m. officially. And we also anticipate that by 9 p.m. or between 9 and 10 p.m., official declaration will be done. We also understand that the candidates or the various aspirants, the two of them, the two leading aspirants, Emmanuel and Lekwe, will later make their way here when declaration is set to be done. The NPP is confident that the seat would be given to them because they have won it earlier. That is what they are claiming. The NDC is also claiming that they've won the seat and it will be declared in their favor. Like I said, we have Dr. Charles Wahin. Let me try and engage him briefly as to what he makes of the process so far. Okay, so he's declining for now. He's trying to observe whatever is happening as the coalition table together, the former ambassador to China under the actual MPP administration. So then is quickly, let me show you the ballot boxes and other electoral materials we have. So this is, this just got in here by this officer. And let me see, this is coming from the Bethel Baptist Church at Sacrament. So that is one. This one is also coming from the Methodist Church, Odoko 1. So that is what you see on the screen. So the good people of Odoko and Sacrament have their results here. It will go to the table for verification before it is being transmitted to the nomination table. So more and more ballot boxes arriving. So this one, I can see, is also coming from Odoko. So this one is from Roman Catholic Church, Busia Junction, Odoko. So that is where this is coming from. So this is what is happening. More and more of the ballot boxes arriving, and you're short. You can also see quite a number of senior police officers. Some of them drawn from the FPU, some of them also drawn from the national headquarters, and others from the Greater Accra Regional Police Command, ensuring that there's adequate security here. Another ballot box arriving. That is another ballot box arriving by the industrious staff of the Electoral Commission, who has been at the polling station earlier in the morning. So this is coming from the school complex at Odoko. So I've seen about 3 ballot boxes coming from the area. So this is currently what is happening here at the regional headquarters of the Electoral Commission, and more ballot boxes, like I keep emphasizing, keeping in here and their way to the table for verification ballots.
Well, that's Hanan Abdul Adam there, bringing us the latest from the Greater Accra Regional Collation Center. We understand that reps of the NDC and MPP are ready to do the work that will bring finality to who will be MP of Ablekuma North. But let's stay with the numbers, right? This time round, coming to Emmanuel Agyabeng. Emmanuel, the figures are coming through. From what we are seeing, there is a certain trend. We'll wait a while until we make any projection. But whoever wins this may not win it by a huge margin.
Yes.
Tell us more.
I can confidently say that whoever wins this polls will not win by exceeding 300 votes out of the 19 polling stations. So whatever votes that may be tallied, whether it will be Irabuna Obing, whether it will be Okia Owusu Efriye, whoever wins is not exceeding 300 votes margin. We earlier projected, prior to all the happenings, a 57% voter turnout. It appears our conservative approach was even far too much, because what we are seeing now, per the total numbers we've collated so far, is that we are seeing a voter turnout less than 40%. And this is from in excess of 10 polling stations. So if I drop it down, as you can see from my sheets, the numbers we are dealing with now is around 33%. And of the total votes cast, we are seeing 2,241 out of 6,863. That is way, way below the conservative position we chose. And there's a lot of explanations behind this. All the factors that happened today is likely to influence these numbers. But no one saw this coming. If you look at the votes we've tallied so far for the MPP, it's in the numbers below 1,000. If you look at the votes we've collated so far for the NDC, it's in the numbers above 1,000. We are just making this provisional results based on the figures we have received from on grounds, and that's around some 10 polling stations. For the MPP, the number that they are getting is around 994. For the NDC is 1,241. This is what I am allowed to put out. But we at the EIB network, we know who is in the comfortable lead. If you look at this data, 1,204, it tells you who is in the comfortable lead. We have an idea of who is winning. We have an idea of what the final figures are looking like. And we have an idea of what the gap is. And so I can confidently tell you that at the end of the polls, whoever wins will not win the polls in excess of 300 votes. So it brings to bear the earlier 404 projection that the MPP raised. I'm now left to wonder where the numbers came from. Because what we are seeing, when the votes were run today, when you add it to the previous one, the numbers you are seeing will not exceed 300 votes. But of course, the EC is the one to determine and to declare finally who is winning. And so once the EC declares, we'll let you know. But then per our in-house analysis, we are looking at a number not exceeding 300 votes. The total rejected ballots are quite down, but then the turnout is, as of now, less than 40%, which is quite disappointing. But of course, if you look at all the happenings today, you will not be surprised why we are seeing this low voter turnout. So, Banis, at a 2,104, it looks like both candidates decided to cross that threshold for us.
Interesting. Emmanuel, so you just hold on for us and continue to compute the numbers, get our own engine room running so that we can make a very firm and fair projection. But IBN Tutua, I mean, talking about the numbers and while we're seeing what we're seeing and what the earlier projections were by the NPP about the number of votes they believe their candidate won by after the December 7 polls. I mean, it's fair to say that we may not exceed it this time, whoever wins, because of the voter turnout.
Right.
Most
Very
definitely.
disappointing.
You're disappointed by the voter turnout?
I mean, we know what it usually is like during elections of this nature, but it's way below the known threshold.
If I want to talk about disappointments, then I'd be disappointed because of the fact that when we saw all of the NPP bigwigs in the Ablekuma North constituency yesterday, I thought it was going to do magic for a QA3. I'm not saying that it hasn't done, but clearly it wasn't enough to bring a lot of people out of their homes to go cast their ballots. But then again, I'm not disappointed with the turnout because just around 10 a.m., news started trickling in about violent eruptions happening at certain polling stations. A lot of people will not risk it. And mind you, prior to this election, we had gone to the constituency to engage some of them who said that, well, we don't care about what is happening. We are not going to vote. So if such a person would even want to change his or her mind at the very last minute and hears on TV or on radio that somebody has been beaten up, why would the person want to do that? It is also a working day. And as IB said, we haven't gotten to the point where people would say that, you know what, exercising my franchise is as important as my daily bread. So I will want to leave, my job for a few hours, go cast my ballots and make an informed decision. We just haven't gotten there. So I'm not disappointed with the turnout. I'm only disappointed that all the charade we saw yesterday in the constituency didn't do too much to bring people out of their homes and offices to go cast their ballots.
Right.
That's what
and to IB, to you, my question then will be, do we still consider, because this election is on the backdrop of 2024, do you think that the voter still considers Ekuye as an incumbent at that time? And cast your mind back. Do they still have the notion that they had of whichever candidate, or their perception of the candidate may have translated into what this new government has brought on?
Well, here's the thing. Ekuye has been a member of parliament for this same constituency before. Under Akufo-Addo's second term, she was shipped to China as deputy ambassador. That was the role she played.
Oh, and that's why the
Yes.
Chinese ambassadors there, because they were
Great. They were working together. Now, look at the mountain she had to climb this time around, given the circumstances. First, on December 7, 2024, she went into this contest from a position of power because she was the candidate for the incumbent political party.
Absolutely.
The reverse is her reality this time around. The reverse is not just her reality, but she's been described as a rogue because the party met, the National Executive Committee came to a conclusion that to send a message and send it forcefully, they believe their arms are being twisted for the seat to be taken from them. So let them have it. That was the conclusion. Subsequently announced in a very forceful and compelling way by the chief scribe of the party, Justin Frimpong Kodia. And then in the morning, that greeted us. So party announced again that we are in this race. That would have lifted a lot of burden from her. Because, trust me, there might have been some people, party supporters, ardent supporters in the constituency, who would have said, no, then we are not going to vote for you.
Yeah, because you defined the party's position on the
You get the point. So that's the second mountain she had to climb. And then also, she became a political football for the presidential candidate aspirants. From Brian Champong to Kennedy Japon. And there are many in the party who believe that they pushed her to do this. And they are just waiting quietly for this dust to settle. And I'm sure we all know how this dust is settling. And then they will say, we knew why we said A. And you allowed these people to convince you to do B. And here we are. In the constituency yesterday, Abu Jinapo was there. And many others, they were there. But it doesn't negate the fact that the party had taken a position. And that position has not been rescinded. Like I said, if you tie an animal to a tree and you are freeing the animal, you free it at that same spot. So once you organize the presser, and mind you, like I said, Miracles was there, Miracles Abuaji was there, each step of the way. When she was addressing the media, she was there. There are many others who were there, supporters of Baumia, who were there. Kennedy Japon was there to lend his support, and then fans as well, Brian Champon as well. But her chances were dwindled by the fact that she had become conflicted. And some people were laying wake, waiting for her to lose so they can say, see a kind. You get the point?
But then, I mean, and we would have time to do that analysis in depth on another day, because we're still waiting for the final confirmation of the figures that we have received from the polling stations and the culminative number translating into who becomes MP for Ablekuma North. But let me just chip in, though, that this is sending a very, very bad signal for the NPP then on its internal communication structure, its disciplinary powers, and its ability to whip people in line. I mean, talk of the names you mentioned, of people being even in the constituency when the party had not clearly communicated that it was reversing or rescinding its decision, then there clearly is a problem that the MPP must look at solving.
Most definitely. See, and it's not to be any party. Unfortunately for the two parties, when you are angry with one, regardless of how mad you are with the other, you go to him. You get the point I'm making? So NDC will do things that will make you angry as a Ghanaian, as a voter, right? You speak against it. Nothing might change. And the MPP that just left power, the memories might still be fresh, but eventually you have to resort to one of them. Unfortunately, that's the duopoly we have here that we deal with. So I said earlier, and I'll repeat, that in this country, incumbent political parties lose elections. Opposition parties do not win. Elsewhere, do you know what opposition parties do? From head to toe, strategy. One word out of 100-page document. That word is placed there as a result of a strategy. That word that's placed in a sentence. It is strategically positioned to make an impact on the voter. Down here, it's free for all. Right. People speak extempore. The point I'm making is that opposition parties do not invest as much as they ought to do. It is the iniquities of the government or governing parties.
That plays to the advantage.
And many voters who voted for NDC will tell you that. They were just tired of the NPP. They were tired of the Nana administration. They just wanted
a
change for the sake of it, right? Two, there were things that were happening that they felt, you know what, let's pull the brakes. I was on campus in 2007. We had intellectuals on campus saying they were going to vote against the NPP, and their reason was simple. When you see Nanado's posters, they were plastered on 2007 registered vehicles, brand new vehicles, right? So to them, that amounted to opulence. We'll send them to opposition and see how they will behave. Intellectuals on campus, that was their reason. So it reinforces the fact that it is the actions and inactions of incumbent parties that send them to opposition. So you might be saying, oh, let's write off the NPP. Look at how they are doing. The party won power in 2016 after sacking their general secretary and their chairman and their vice chairman. What turmoil is heavier than this? But the party won. Because Ghanaians did not care what had happened to Afoko. They didn't care what had happened to Communist Japan. They didn't care what had happened to anybody. All they felt was that they were not seeing clearly with the Mahama administration. Okay. So then, let's go to the next available option.
Interesting analysis happening here on your Election Hub live on GHOne Television and Star FM. We also live around the world via Facebook page GHOne Television. I can tell you that we haven't received official results yet, but there is some jubilation happening. You just want to stay with me. I'll be crossing over shortly to bring you scenes of those jubilation. This is your Election Hub. Kindly stay with us.
Welcome to NLA 590 Mobile. Today we will discuss how you can win cash by playing 590 on your phone.
into jubilation in Odoko. Charles is there for us. Charles, tell us which group is jubilating now and why? Well, apologies, we've lost Charles there, but we're receiving some indication that there is jubilation, Tutua and IB, in Odoko, and IB spoke about why Odoko is important.
Yeah.
IB spoke about why Odoko is important.
Yeah.
We've seen what the figures look like.
Yeah.
We've seen what the figures look like in Odoko, and we're just about to in Odoko. And we're just about to make a safe projection, and it is a trusted and a fair projection. But as we always say, the body mandated to finally declare winners of elections is the Electoral Commission. So what we do here is a projection based on the figures that we all hear, the figures that are publicly announced, and in our own engine room, we try to put the numbers together and make sense of the numbers for you. So you can see there, these persons are NDC supporters, already in a jubilant mood. I'm sure they have received some communication. They may have seen some figures or not. But I mean, until Agyabeng comes to the figures from the engine room, I'd like to say we saw this during the general election where people and bloggers even announced that Zaneto had lost her constituency. And MPP supporters were jubilating, and it turned out not to be true.
That
so
was pure
once
mischief.
you see party supporters jubilating, it doesn't necessarily mean their candidate has won.
Most definitely.
This is your election hub. We will project the winner shortly to you.
We will. These people are actually jubilating like 3 times because they actually jubilated after Erabina Obeng was declared winner, I think the second day after the elections. And then the EC came through to say that no, that declaration was done under duress. And so it's going to reset the declaration. In the process of reset, the entire structure, housing the electoral materials, was torched. Everything burned to ground zero.
That school building.
Exactly. Everything burned to ground zero. That's why we are where we are today, where these individuals have had to jubilate for the second time. But of course, as you mentioned, we are firm in our mind as to who has emerged as a winner provisionally of today's exercise. Mind you, whoever emerges as winner of today's exercise, those numbers will have to be added to the pre-collated figures before you come to the firm conclusion as to who has carried the day. It's possible to have won today and still lost. For instance, if you were winning, if Erabina Obeng won with, say, 30 votes difference, should have still lost because
there's from some 48 outstanding. I mean,
exactly. And so, unless she wins with at least more than 48 votes, it could just be 49, and she'll be home and dry. But per what we're looking at, she might not cross the 500 mark.
Right.
But yes, she's close.
Crossing the 300 mark.
Exactly. So yes, very soon we'll give you that projection to either ground the jubilation or burst the bubble.
I'll just ask you to hold on. Let me engage Professor Samuel Ejijimfi. He's with the Political Science Department at the KNUST. Grateful for your time here, Doc. Prof, I beg your pardon. You have been observing the elections.
Return to their places of work or homes. Return to their places of work or homes to wait till the results are announced so that they would form a part of the larger chunk which would make a determination of who would be the winner and make a determination of who would be the winner and eventually become the representative of the people in parliament. Unfortunately, we have not only seen pockets of violence, but we have also seen that we seem to have become emblematic of Ghana's elections over time, where the brawn seem to dictate the structures that have been put in place to allow elections to be run and run within the remit of the law, as against the desire by bad persons or individuals who do not have Ghana at heart and who have interest in rather building dismay and also depleting the gains we have made thus far in our democracy. It's not been a quiet day. It's not been a peaceful one. It's not been a day that personally I'm excited about. I think we've done better. Some intelligence could have been picked. Some tax potentially would want to disrupt. I'm sure that some security intelligence would have been able to pick the potential for individual actors or macho men or thugs to want to direct the day toward a sense of dismay. Unfortunately, we do not have much to reflect on in terms of what the security apparatus picked up before this day. But it seems to me the pictures that I've rolled on television and, if you like, on social media and elsewhere have shown that to an extent the security could not deliver anything as useful as it would be required to prevent such aggravations and those scenes we have witnessed today.
And Prof, let's also talk about the posturing of the NPP and whether or not it may or may not have affected the fortunes of its candidate, and the mixed signals, the confused communication. In one breath, the party says, we're withdrawing. The candidate says, I'm heading to court. It doesn't go in her favor. She comes back to say, I'm going to contest anyway because the party support base wants me to. We don't see any confirmation of same from the National Executive Council of the party. And then you have notable personalities from Parliament coming in to support her. What are the dynamics at play here?
Look, you nailed, you've hit the nail right on the head. I think what would eventually become the last straw to hit the camel's back to really bring them to a certain state of imbalance is the fact that they indeed gave mixed messaging. Secondly, they had overlooked their own historical posturing within the constituency. Look, you recall historically that from 1996, Kwame Nabatel, up to 2000, Kwame Nabatel, winning in the 60th percentile, right? As much as 2004, Kwame Nabatel winning in the 60th percentile. By 2008, Joe Appiah, right, winning in the 67th percentile. If you look at the history of the constituency, at least you would appreciate the fact that the NPP, were not supposed to be giving such messaging. I've said earlier, if they had confidence in their candidates, that shouldn't have been the case. Second of all, if they had no idea or feeling that as a result of losing the election with over 1.7 million margin, is that another point? Then, if without that fear, what would cause them to begin to shy away from a constituency that historically they have won within the 60 percentile? Even in 2020, they repeated same dose against the NDC. In 2016, we saw that, right? In 2012, in the 50 percentile. So fundamentally, why would they shy away from that constituency? We see that across the country, significantly, whilst President Mahama was appreciating in vote, the NDC parliamentarians were equally increasing in vote and were equally winning seats that historically were the seats of the NPP, or the NPP have performed very well were seen to be performing abysmally in the 2024 election.
Right.
So, okay.
Doc, we'll come back to you shortly when we receive the official confirmation of the figures, but it's looking like it's going the green way. Emmanuel Agyabeng is in our engine room working out the figures. We will be making a projection, so you just want to stay with us. In the next 5 to 10 minutes, we will be telling you who is likely to win the Ablekuma North after this rerun and final collation. But let me take you back to that constituency, specifically Odoko, where there is some jubilation happening already. Charles is still there for us. Charles, why are these people jubilating? I've seen some of them wearing NDC shirts. What is the reason for their jubilation? We haven't received official confirmation yet.
All right, so if you can hear me, let me welcome you all to the Odoko Polling Center here. And earlier on, if you can see on the screen, that was some jubilation here. And although they've earlier jubilated, but still there are other people here who are still jubilating. So quickly, let me see and interact with one or two of them to see. Madam, hey. So let me try and interact with one or two of them. And so, Madam, welcome to GHOne TV. Should we do English or I can? All right. So, how far? How did the election go? What was the jubilation about? All right. Okay, thank you very much. Senior, so what was the jubilation about? Why are you on early jubilation here?
29 good years.
All right.
Jamie, MP Papa, 29 years. MP Papa. But I must say, and then this MP. All
right, and I said jubilation results no buy and tell this now more pen tem Agyabeng. I didn't let us somewhere winning.
Oh, no,
minimum results. I'm not saying about meanings.
I can't tell we winning.
The only man is somewhere winning. I don't think I'm watching winning. And to when it's too early, Saban's be better saying. All right.
Yes, the beer.
All right.
Spend a good 10 years. Yeah, you say you have to have I'm a Rabbi Obi or Parliament. The QS, sir. You want to be a pass, QS, sir. Why?
Okay. All right. I don't know. Eligiano, Masha, Sentem, Obikas as a Mutuman from America. I'm a Moniachi.
Chipa, Sienima, buy it too. Mamma, be better. You're better for no money as they say. Say, run and Parliament. Then no anti public planet.
I didn't hear. Someone I'm going to have an entering now.
You're mistaken. And the first one,
I'm going to and no more fucking kind.
You see, I win.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, for the big star.
All right. All right. All right, so that is some of the constituents or the voters that have interacted with so far. So they said no matter what, looking at the turnout from, the results coming or the results to be in, they see themselves to be the winners or a Rabna Obin who contested for the National Democratic Congress at Ablekuma North constituency here seems to, on the way of being a victor or being the winner from this election so far. So far, that was the earlier visuals that I sent to you, the jubilations that, erupted here at Odoko Polling Center.
Charles, so it's 7 after 7, and we're hoping at least to have received some official communication from the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
Nevertheless, we do know that while we are collating the figures, even during the election, we did for us to do, but we also know that the NDC and the NPP have, like you mentioned, have also been collating their figures.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And we know that By now,
they know.
Everybody knows.
They all know
what's happening, right?
Just us. Just us. Yeah, Tutu are coming.
Everybody knows what's happening.
Of course, they know, and you can tell. You see, if the NPP had the slightest idea that they were probably in the lead, you would have seen them on the streets jubilating as well. So far, in all of the videos that we've seen, we've just seen people clad in the NDC colors jubilating on the street. They clearly know where this has gone. I've actually seen a number of commentary on social media from some of these political heads who say that, well, the NPP should be advising, they should have listened to their general secretary because he knew the outcome of the election, reason he'd asked them to pull out. But that didn't happen. I mean, they know. They are busy in the coalition.
And talking about social media, Tutua, this has also once again sparked conversations about the discontent within the NPP, especially for persons who describe as foot soldiers or the party support base. People are beginning to re-echo their sentiments about the executive leadership. They're beginning to talk about, once again, who is responsible for what and why the party is where it is today. And so in the coming days, we would see this cemented, that is, if it goes the way of the NDC as is being projected or as the trend is pointing to, we would know what will happen in the coming days with regards to the party itself. Also because they have a conference coming up shortly.
Yes,
just next week, Saturday. Yes. And I mean, before you come in, I'm not surprised about you talking about discontentment. Look, they've been making these points for as long as I can remember, that they are calling for the head of the general secretary, they want the national chairman off, they want the national organizer off because they say...
Definitely, they're supernatural. See, the NPP, definitely, they're supernatural. See, the NPP is going through a difficult patch, and I'm sure everybody knows that fact. When a party loses power, the lowest of the fruits to blame will be the individuals who led the party at the battlefront. That's the lowest hanging fruit. So when we put you in charge, we were in power. Go and secure that power for us. You failed. So it's very easy to blame party executives.
I agree.
Right. Now, where
are they wrong to blame the party executives, though?
No, no problem.
They're not wrong.
But you see,
they're not wrong.
But you see, when you do deeper analysis of this, when you do deeper analysis of the situation, you can come to the conclusion that it doesn't. You can come to the conclusion that it doesn't matter who was in leadership, be it B.D. Darocha or Harun Eseku or Peter McMenu. The party was bound to lose. If you come to that conclusion, then you might take a step back and then tone down
a bit
on the blame game. Now, but it's understandable on the blame game. Now, but it's understandable.
Right.
It's understandable that
those blame games have actually
you want somebody
prominence.
to hang. But on this specific communication, I disagree with the people who just want to hang Justin from Fonkodia.
I disagree
He's a
with
messenger.
them as well. Right.
National Executive Committee takes a decision. The chief scribe is tasked with the responsibility of communicating the decision. Yes, you can talk about the fact that he might have engaged in some excesses relative to the community there and do nothing for you in the next 4 years.
Right.
Or you want somebody that we will work with and then ensure that will bring you development. It happened both ways. With the MPP in power, with the MPP out of power, with the NDC in power, with the NDC out of power. It's happened. So they look at these dynamics. And from tomorrow you hear, and from Monday you hear some of them say that, including the mayhem that was visited on some individuals, that they saw this coming. And it's part of the permutations why they said, hey, let's not be party to this exercise.
But then again, if indeed a decision had been taken for the election to be conducted, why was it difficult for the General Secretary to come out and say that, I spat, I'm picking up the saliva with my tongue?
Yes.
Would it have been anything difficult? And yesterday, there were some executives in the constituency.
Oh, yes.
Journalists were engaging them. So they were asking, well, there has been a directive from the party. Why are you here? Are you not defying the party's orders?
We've still got Prof on the line, and I'd like to get his his thoughts on this particular question. So, Doc, you're a political scientist. There's a bit of political communication around this. And the question by my colleague is, would it have hurt the NPP General Secretary or the party as a whole for it to say that we made a statement based on certain expectations, I mean, saying that presumably, but we have rescinded our decision, and so as clearly as we communicated our withdrawal, we want to communicate our decision to come back into the contest. Will that have had any impact, negative or positive?
I think the issue is not about whether it would have made any positive or negative impact. The fact that the mixed messaging in itself shows the state of the MPP. It's as simple as that, right? There is lack of cohesion, there's lack of coordination, there's lack of understanding between the executives, especially with respect to the expectation of the party followership. Those who are interested in the party, not those who are the helm of affairs. The teeming masses within the constituency wanted their candidate to contest. Because if you look at the history of the constituency, at least they've won almost every election, if I'm not mistaken. The point is that why should it be the case that today, if they have to rerun 19 polling stations, they have to stay off? What is the stay away? For me, it was much ado about nothing. At the end of the day, the NDC is not the Electoral Commission. The NDC equally has a candidate. And that candidate, was or is going to contest based on the rules of the game. And it will not be based on the whim or the caprice of the NDC to decide the fate or the outcome of the election. At the end of the day, if we're even blaming the Electoral Commission, it is not the Electoral Commission that would be doing the voting. So fundamentally, what was the MPP about around this time? It was a continuity of their existing defeat. If you reflect on the margin, and I need to say this, 1.7 million. It has resonated, and better still, it has almost depleted the confidence of the executive to lose in the next internal elections of the MPP. As a matter of fact, they should be thinking about how they will stand behind the teeming masses and to see new executives take over the party and rather gradually and systematically rebuild certain aspects of team to ensure that they are more formidable in 2028. And that's my thought around that.
Do you believe that the incidents of violence affect the credibility of this rerun?
When we talk about free and fair elections, it doesn't mean that it's a perfect election. At the end of the day, when we count the votes, right, do they reflect the Ghanaians or the constituents who went to vote? And that those whom they voted for is exactly those individuals, the votes have been counted in their name or for them. And if that is done, then we can say that the outcome is fair because it is the votes of the people that have been counted and it is the vote of the people that have made that determination so far as the parliamentarian who emerge is concerned or the winner is concerned.
But Doc, let's flip the script a bit. There are those who suggest that these incidents of violence, which were recorded, some of them in the very early hours of the day, could have affected people's decision to come out to vote.
Oh, but the mixed messaging did not affect the people's decision to come and vote.
Interesting point you raised there. Thank you very much for your time this evening, Professor. Edujemfi is with the Political Science Department of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He's been sharing his thoughts with us. Emmanuel Agyabeng is back from the engine room. We have been working the figures. We have been crossing our T's and dotting our I's so that what we give you is fair, is credible, and truthful. Emmanuel, what can Election Hub project?
Bernice, I can confidently tell you, and as I rightly mentioned earlier, that the gap between both candidates would not exceed 300. And then, for who is winning this election, and put a message on our newsroom platform, I gave an indication that a mother bore someone, and then the one of whom she bore decided to bring out quintuplets. And I was talking in terms of the numbers, because the numbers have multiplied 5 times. And then, what we do understand, and what per our collation, the figures now, is that the EIB Election Hub is projecting Irabuna Obeng of the NDC as the winner and the MP-elect for the Ablekuma North constituency. Now, the polling stations, of course, the results are being collated by the EC. Per our figures, per today's polls as well, Irabuna Obeng is the one that is leading. So if you combine this and to the figures of the EC, the pre-collated results, the figures that we are having, it's indicative that Irabuna Obeng is the MP-elect for the Ablekuma North constituency. And pretty shortly, I am confident that the EC will be laying affirmation to the same projection that we have done for the Ablekuma North constituency after the rerun of elections in the 19 polling stations.
Right. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Agyabeng. This is your Election Hub, and if you just joined us, we can confirm to you that Irabuna Obeng of the NDC is MP-elect per provisional results that we have collated. So we are projecting her as winner of this election, awaiting final confirmation from the Electoral Commission. Also, our man Abdul Hanan Adam is in the Greater Accra Regional Coalition Center for us. We'll be touching base with him to get a sense of what the place looks like. And I'm sure he'll be able to read the room and be able to tell us what the figures are saying, what the figures are pointing to. And at this point, we say that it is statistically impossible, per what we have received, for anything dramatic to happen to overturn these results. So your Election Hub is projecting Irabuna Obeng of the NDC as MP-elect for Ablekuma North. I mean, I quickly have to ask you, IP, because your mainstay is Parliament, that's your home. What would this mean in terms of the numbers in Parliament?
Well, the NDC has absolute majority. It's not that it needed this to have that, because the 4 independent members of Parliament decided to caucus with the NDC. So we had the absolute majority, but now +1 in addition. Students of politics will say that, sees that if you put a goat as a candidate in the colors of political party NPP, that goat was going to emerge victorious, because that's how much those constituencies were in love, madly in love with the party. In 2024, December 7, that story, that script was shredded into pieces and dumped somewhere. And so, yes, the question that would jump at us will be, okay, for the first time since 1996, because I usually don't add 1992. 1992 was like a walk in the park for the NDC. The NPP boycotted the election because at that time, this was the system we were running. We'll get a president elected first before we go ahead to elect our MPs. And that chain mentality, that bandwagon mentality of wanting your MP to work with the president directly. And I don't know why the framers of the Constitution or that electoral law did not think of that possibility, that once Chairman Rawlings was the president, the likelihood of almost every constituency saying that let's vote for NDC parliamentary candidate was very high. But eventually, common sense prevailed, and we knew that we had to do the two at the same time, just to ensure that you vote blindly. By that I mean, you are voting for presidential candidate, you are voting for parliamentary candidate. It could go that your choice of a presidential candidate could lose, and like I said, yes, the NPP will have to work on itself. It will have to work on the political party. It will have to rebuild. But its success story will be hinged on the failures of the NDC.
I agree.
It's as simple as that.
Now, talking about rebuild, I don't intend to fault the NDC, the NPP, but when you pay attention to the kind of message they were sending across in the Constitution yesterday, they were trying to play the emotional card. But people have actually grown out of that. You know, that Ikea is a widow and you're not going to be representing us because you're a widow, because you think you can do the work.
Exactly.
They were literally sending out that message that, oh, she's a widow, she's sad, she's defenseless, vote for her. And if you don't vote for her, the NDC gets an absolute majority, and they'll be passing very ridiculous legislative instruments. And I think that that kind of messaging and that kind of politicking has outgrown a lot of Ghanaians. People are tired of it. Like all of a sudden appearing in a constituency to party with the people to send a message that I'm with you. It doesn't work anymore. If there's anything they could have learned from the 2024 election, they should have just simply implemented it. Well, it's unfortunate for the.
You're right, but somebody will say that once the EC made the decision that it was going to have a rerun, the MPP stood no chance.
Right. Was it that obvious?
There was a reason why.
And I'm asking that because you know that the NPP had banked its hopes on the 19 polling stations, saying that, well, these are our strongholds.
Yes, and they argued that they had won. And that what was outstanding would be 3. 1, 2, 3. Complete the exercise and declare us winners, right? And then the EC said, no, we are unable to authenticate 19 results. So then let's go back. Like I said, once a party comes to power and in about 7 months, there is any process to get a member of parliament, automatically that party stands a bigger chance of winning. Because, first of all, it's not like the party is in its 3rd year of its term, where election will be 9. So the constituents will say that if we vote for an opposition candidate, in just about a year, we'll go for a general election. We will have another president who will come and probably be the president from the party of this candidate or this member of parliament. We are talking about 3 more years. 3 more years. So, like I said, politically, there was a mountain in front of the MPP with that determination that the EC made. And the party knows. That's how come the party rejected wholeheartedly the verdict from the EC. But like I said on this platform, the party had just one forum to go to for redress, and that's the court. The party went there, and the court says, go and fight again. Now, like I said, I still insist that the party did the numbers and realized that it was going to lose. That's how come it asked the candidate not to contest. But the candidate has done well by way of numbers. To be honest, she has done well by way of numbers. So, even though her stronghold from the Odoko area, she still lost. But the margin of loss was not that monumental. So, Agyabeng could get, say, 115, and then Nanekwe Free could get, say, 100, 130, 80, sometimes 20, 18. Right? They are the people who will say that enough is enough. We voted because there is no polling station that has less than 200 voters. So for us to be seeing 18, 25, should tell you that a chunk of them went like, Charlie, what is it? Why this disturbance? Again. We just voted not long ago. But in all this, I'm sure lessons have been learned by both the EC,
we hope lessons have indeed been learned.
The NDC, the police, the NPP, and then the democratic process. I'm very sure lessons have been learned, to be honest with you. At least, if there is any silver lining for the neutrals and the gender advocates, it will be that this fight was between two women. So regardless of what the outcome is, there's a woman.
A woman has come out victorious.
You see that as a silver lining.
The gender card won't be played. Let's go to the Greater Accra Regional Collation Center. Abdul Hanan Adam is there for us. Hanan, what can you report? Do we have a final confirmation of the figures?
The 28th election is concerned. Specifically, we cities
Apologies, there appears to be some interference with that line there to Hanan. We'll rework the line and hopefully he can tell us in clear terms what's happening at the Greater Accra Regional Collation Center. You're still live on your election hub on GHOne Television and Star FM. Hub has projected what is the situation. The NDC's Agyabeng is projected to win and BMP led for Ablekuma North. And Hanan is still at the Greater Accra Regional Collation Center. He joins us.
This one.
Well, apologies. We still have a challenge with that line. I can hear Araba there. I'm sure she's trying to help Hanan resolve the situation. Araba Edu is there with Hanan, bringing you the very best from the Greater Accra Regional Collation Center. But I'm still in the studio with Tutu Adanso and Ibrahim Al-Hassan. Ibrahim has been here since morning. Tutu has been here since afternoon. And Emmanuel Agyabeng, the man behind the numbers, has also been here. He still is here. Once again, let's make an attempt to cross over to the Greater Accra Regional Collation Center. Hello, Hanan, can you hear me? What are the numbers saying over there? We've made a projection, but obviously the power lies in the bosom of the EC. What are the figures saying?
Well, rightly so, Bernice. From the results that we've seen earlier as projected on the screen and some of which we've shared with you, it indicates that the NDC's parliamentary candidate for the Ablekuma North constituency, Agyabeng, is in a lead, and very soon the collation will be brought to a close. Just as you can see on your screen, Dr. Rashid Tanko computer is with one of the sheets where he's expected to scan it and sign before an official declaration. Charles Gamena also has a copy of the certified results that has been tabulated to sign that sheet when they confirm whatever results that they have tallies with exactly what the officials of the Electoral Commission have in their system. So basically, very soon we will see a declaration being done. So you can see Rashid Tanko computer beaming with smiles. It indicates that they are in the lead, and it appears that the results would be declared in their favor. So you realize that the former ambassador to China, who's also an agent for the MPP, is also seated, confirming whatever they have. So officers of the Electoral Commission, the returning officer who is expected to declare the results is ready, and very soon, so he's making his way to the point where he's expected to do the declaration. And so he has a copy of the results, and he's about to do the declaration. So Bennett's declaration is about to go down. Declaration is about to happen. So declaration is about to go down. So it's happening now.
328. Total valid vote 68,917. Registered vote 411. Now for Nana Epia Omusu FEE, she pulled 33,881. Agyabeng pulled 34,090. So I, Joseph Lee Kwatelai Kwoti, the returning officer of Ablekuma North constituency, do declare Agyabeng Agyabeng, the NDC candidate, as the MP elect for Ablekuma North constituency. Nanekia 33,881. Agyabeng 34,090. Total valid vote, 67,917. Rejected vote, 411. Total votes cast, 68,328. Thank you.
Thank you. Official results duly declared, and the NDC's Rashid Tanku computer is also about to address it.
We knew we won the seat as far back 2024. Just that we were being rocked. Fortunately for us, our resilience and confidence has paid off today. We've been very consistent in this process. We knew that the NDC candidate, Erabna, was the choice of the people of Ablekuma North. So we are not surprised with the figures. In any case, the candidate is here. She will enter any moment from now, and you will hear from her. We have fought this battle in order to restore the sanctity of democracy in Ghana. We wouldn't want anybody to rob us. That is why we fought hard. The final victory has come. Democracy has come. What is the illegality here? The NDC, as I know, fortunately, my regional organizer is here, and my director of election for Greater Accra is here. As a deputy director of elections for IT as well as operations for these elections, we have not deployed any macho man anywhere in any of the polling stations. We had full confidence in the state security. So as a party, we didn't even bring our own internal security because we're relying on the national security. You see, these people, they announced to you that they were not going to participate in this election. Their general secretary announced publicly that they were not contesting this election. Some people defy his orders. Less than 12 hours to contest the election. Others were using the platform for campaigning for their presidential bid. So you know MPP, the way they beat each other. So it was a showmanship to let people know that if their general secretary gives orders and you refuse, you get a beating. You cannot use that one and say it's NDC who beat them. They are beating them of attacking themselves. Of course. Is it the first time MPP have attacked each other? Is it the first time they started attacking each other? I can give you a novel of attacks that they even attacked each other in their offices, in constituencies, to the extent that they even back each other with assist. Are you not aware of that? Not deploy. We're relying on them, and we made sure that everything was peaceful. It went on successfully. We won the election on the basis of our track record.
There was video footage of the incidents. I'm not sure that the police what's the level of assurance that those
are you the police?
Yeah, the security agents will deal with that. That will fall within their domain. It doesn't fall within the domain of the NDC. This one. The year or so one was a state-sponsored attack. The state-sponsored attack to the extent even MPs were slapped. Our MP then, now a minister of communication, he was slapped at that place. What did the state do? State-sponsored attacks on right-thinking people. Today, did you see any state-sponsored attack on anybody? We also saw one incident. As a political party, condemn that action of the security officer because we respect media men as a political party. This is the difference.
You had Rashid Tanko Computer. He's the Deputy Director of IT and Elections of the Governing National Democratic Congress. And before he spoke, we heard from the returning officer who has given us the figures which confirm Erabna Agyabeng of the NDC as winner of the election in total and not only the rerun. You have to understand that the rerun was needed to complete the entire process or to complete the collation. Once that was done, all the figures were put together and we arrived at 33,000, 881 for the NPP's Ekwie and 34,090 for the NDC's Rabna Obeng. That's just a little over 200 vote difference. Exactly 209 vote difference. Really close.
Very bad. At the point in time, we had an MP in Parliament who won with 3 votes from Tema East. We were calling him MP3.
MP3, that's interesting.
Yes. So, yes, when it comes to parliamentary elections, a single vote can make the difference. And that's how come when there's apathy, when people do not show up, it's more or less impactful on the parliamentary candidates than the presidential candidates. Because for presidency, you need 50 plus 1. This one is simple majority, numerically, and then you are the winner. Over 400 votes rejected. And that's if you add to the pre-collated results from December 7 last year. It means that the rejected ballots were actually much more than the difference between the winner and then the vanquished.
Which is troubling, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is. Some destroy their ballot as a form of protest. And so we've come to that realization that some is deliberate. They just don't, they've taken the ballot paper all right. They don't feel like voting for anybody, so they just destroy it. Some don't even tamper it, and then they just drop it in there. It will be counted as a rejected ballot.
I've actually witnessed an incident where somebody was heavily drunk and he went to the polls. So, you know, he's supposed to whoever he's voting for, he's supposed to put a thumb there. He actually put a thumb on the candidate's face.
Which just
if it's just one, that can be accepted. But usually what they do is that they thumbprint on many more than just one, right? Because when even thumbprint in the box, and you are asked to fold so then it can
be folded the right way. Yeah. That is also a problem.
Yes.
Interesting. So there we have it. IB Parliament will be interesting. So what's going to happen? She's going to have
it's plus 1 minus 1. So
not even about the numbers. I mean, we should be seeing her sworn in the.
Yeah, but probably Parliament is to sit on Monday, but I think she might need to prepare, and so. Unless it's in a rush, and I think the people of Ablekuma South will be in Ablekuma North will be in a rush because they've waited for 7 months without an MP, right? She's actually lost 7 months of her salary. That's serious. So I don't know how the dynamics will be, whether will be back
taken
pay.
in retrospect. Or
Yes, but she has lost money, right? And then she'll just join her colleagues. But then again, we'll have to go and then get another MP from Akwetia to get a full complement of the team.
Right.
Sadly so.
Right,
so I'm just happy that they didn't waste that time, right? Yeah.
It's ended
just
quite
after
early.
the time we were done, they were also almost done. And that's just 19 polling stations. Just addition. There's no subtraction. Just add.
Interesting. And thank you all so much. We've been seeing your comments on social media. Thank you for keeping faith with us since morning when Lily and the team started. And Ivy has been here. Thank you for staying with us throughout and for sharing your comments with us as well. And we know that in the coming days, we will be hearing, particularly from all the actors in this particular rerun. We're yet to hear from the MP-elect. Hopefully we'll be able to get her to speak. Tanko, computer was mentioning that she was close by, and so she was going to come. So we will be hearing from her pretty shortly, hopefully. We would be expecting to also hear from the MPP's Ekwie.
Maybe not today.
Maybe not today, maybe today. We don't know how it's going to look like.
Now today might not happen.
But I'm not sure we will be hearing from the MPP party on this matter anytime soon.
Well, we heard from Agyabeng when we engaged him. And you could tell that he had no expectation whatsoever. His concentration was on the security breaches, the violence that has been visited on some party leaders and party members. And so he mentioned that regardless of the outcome, to the MPP, it legitimately won the elections on December 7, 2024. And so what has happened, as we have now known, is what he terms as annexation. And I'm quoting him. He says, the seat that they won has now been annexed by the NDC. Probably in collaboration with the EC. And it's interesting, and we're here talking about how all of a sudden the NDC finds everything that the EC does, at least at this material point in time, relative to this rerun,
problematic.
The NDC thinks it's in order. The MPP finds everything wrong with what the EC has done and is doing, right? Hopefully, but then again, when it comes to the EC, I'm quite cautious not to stick my neck out for it, because this EC has done quite a lot. That leaves very little to be desired. And we had mentioned, I remember in the wake of COVID, where members of the academic community, CSOs, all of them advised against compilation of a new voters register. The EC said no, we will do it. It did it. I remember when the EC said, if you don't have Ghana card, you will not be allowed to use your passport. It's Parliament that saved this country. Because at that time, there were many people who had applied for their Ghana card. Some had even paid money. They were not getting access to the Ghana card. But
and
now,
even the NIA did admit at the time
exactly
that it even had challenges in printing new cards for persons who had registered.
And the EC wouldn't listen. Until Osetie Mensah Bonsu, who was the then majority leader, argued that no, Parliament cannot allow the EC to push the nation around if they are able to prove that. Because that was the argument. If everybody who needed to have access to a Ghana card had one, why not? But the challenge was that there were many more people who didn't have access to the Ghana card. Hence the argument that don't limit the document of identification
that is not accessible to everybody at the time.
So the EC, let's see how
in fact, talking about that in social media reactions, I have seen some comments also suggesting that this is the climax of the poor showing they believe the EC has put up. And when we say the EC, they're referring to the since Madam GHOne Mensah took over as chairperson, and so that's the assessment span when they say this EC. They believe that this particular rerun is a climax to their assessment of a poor showing by Madam GHOne Mensah. So those are the thoughts of Ghanaians, and not exactly an editorial position by the EIB network. We need to mention that. But guys, what a day it has been.
Yeah,
it has been a really good day. You know, my takeaway from this would be how we handle the security issues and how certain political figures fueled it physically and digitally by putting up certain unwarranted posts that could further inflame what was already happening on the field. And you know, we're looking forward to what happens in Akutia. It will change the numbers for the NDC or the NPP. Should the NDC win that election, that means they have another one to their numbers in Parliament. And should the NPP lose, that means they have about 87 now in Parliament. Quite significant, that cannot be overlooked. And so I'm just hoping that going into that election, we've learned a few things, because we're not going to be jeopardizing the lives of our electorates, journalists, and political actors. It is unfair. People just have to exercise their franchise. It's the fair thing to do.
And just to mention that we'll be following up keenly on the case involving our colleague Banahene, who was hit by a police officer. Let's cross over now to the Electoral Commission's head office, where there is a press collation center, I beg your pardon, Greater Accra Regional Collation Center. Rabna Obin is speaking. I'm really sorry for the loss in sound there. You saw Arabna Obing, MP-elect for Ablekuma North, engage in the media. It would have been very wonderful to hear what she's trying to say. My producers in the back are trying to work the lines, and we'll bring you those details of her statement after being declared winner of the Ablekuma North election after a very, very strenuous process from December 7 to today. But that will be about it for our coverage of this particular rerun, which culminated in Ablekuma North having an MP-elect. We will be furnishing you with details of what the days ahead will look like in terms of swearing in and other formalities to finally get her a seat in Parliament to start work as representative of the people of Ablekuma North. You can follow us on social media.